I would definitely keep the reptiles because I didn't start this for YouTube. I've been keeping reptiles for a lot longer, and I had a reptile room before I had a YouTube channel. So I would just continue to do it. I would probably have to scale down because I couldn't afford to do it, depending on what my next career would be. But within my means, I would definitely, absolutely still keep reptiles to the biggest extent that I could possibly do. I love it, man. This is what I do for a job, but I never get an animal because I think it's going to do well on YouTube. I have never done that. I don't get bit for views. My channel could. I know the formula to have 1 million subscribers. I know the formula. I just have a heart and I can't do it.
This episode is brought to you by Reptiles to You. If you're shipping reptiles, you need a company built by reptile industry professionals that you can trust. That's why I'm excited to be working with Ben Gann, the owner of Reptiles to You. Ben and the rest of his team are incredibly committed to quality work and customer service. They specialize in live animal shipping, working directly with carriers to ensure your animals arrive safely, on time, and in great condition. With a reputation built on that high level of service, integrity, and expertise, Reptiles to You is the absolute standard by which other reptile shipping companies are measured. Don't risk your next shipment. Visit reptiles2u.com today. This episode is brought to you by Soul Reptile. Soul Reptile is a boutique, direct-to-consumer lighting and husbandry company focused on bringing the latest reptile physiology and lighting science into the hobby. They're the creators of the Vision LED, the most powerful UVA1 LED available for reptile lighting. They also produce precisely tuned near-infrared systems designed for specialized animals, including invertebrates. If you're serious about replicating natural sunlight and dialing in your animal's environment, Soul Reptile is pushing that science forward. Soul Reptile, the science of the sun. This episode is brought to you in part by ExoTerra. If you're as passionate about reptiles and amphibians as I am, you know that quality matters. I use ExoTerra products on all my reptile and amphibian enclosures, which is why I'm excited to be partnering with them. From naturalistic decor to innovative lighting and enclosures of all sizes, ExoTerra has everything you need for your cold-blooded companions. ExoTerra, make your reptiles feel at home. This is the Expert and the Idiot podcast. If you like the show and you'd like to support us, there's a link to our Patreon in the description below. Some benefits include getting access to new episodes up to a month in advance. There's also links to USARK and USARK Florida. If you're not already a member, please sign up. Enjoy the show. So I gotta ask you, man, what is the, because, you know, I just had my physical. I have such bad OCD, dude. Like I get so freaked out around doctor's appointments and everything. Mm-hmm. And then I go and I'm like, everything's fine. Everything's perfect, you know, and I feel great afterwards. What is the Canadian healthcare system like? Because I've heard so many bad things, and is it really as bad as I hear?
Yes, it's probably worse than what you think. I mean, if let's suppose that you're a 60-year-old woman, I'm using this is a real example, and you need surgery on your knee in order to walk properly. You might have been waiting since 2018 and still not had your surgery.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think the average wait for arthroscopic, I don't know if I'm saying that right, surgery is 4.5 years. In the US, it's 19 weeks. So, when I played for a school that was they were a football factory, right? Booster club, the whole thing. And if you are there and you have a chance of going to college or university to play, and you say rupture your Achilles or tear your ACL, we don't send you to a Canadian hospital. Our boosters will send you to Buffalo to go get surgery the next day, because otherwise it's 2 years and your career is over. So here, if you hurt yourself, sure, it's free, but also you live in a place where there's no state tax. I pay 54% of my income to the government every year. So it's communism. And then so it's not free. I pay way more than you do for even if you have health insurance. And then if I go to the hospital, like, so my kid went to the hospital recently, right? If you go to a hospital and you go to a waiting room and the emergency, it might be 12 hours before a doctor even sees you. We have people die in emergency rooms all the time. If you have a heart attack, too bad. It's busy. Don't know what to tell you. You might die just right here in the waiting room, sitting in a chair.
Golly.
Yeah, or waiting in a hallway. So that
You should move to America, man.
I tried. I really
I
did
know.
try. I really did. Oh man. And that was like when everyone said, "Oh, but your healthcare." I'm like, dude, how much is healthcare for a family? $600 a month? That is way cheaper than the tax rate here in order to pay for free healthcare that isn't even available to you.
Yeah, ours might be a little bit cheaper even because it's through my wife works for the hospital. So
There you go.
we have great coverage and I work for the county. So like we went from like good insurance to even better insurance, which is, that's why a lot of the people, the problem is though, is that, if you're not employed and getting your health insurance through your employer, then you're screwed. Like
Sure.
it's so expensive here. But as long as you have a job that provides that benefit, then you're good. Also, you can still go into debt very easily. And if you don't pay that medical debt, it affects your credit score.
Yes, and well, at least it's bankruptable, whereas like student debt isn't, which is the same here. But
Yeah.
I mean, like, not saying that's great, but if there was, so what I would love if Canada did, if there was an option for private, if we had an option where I can pay out of the nose if I want to, and that way I can actually get, because like my biggest fear is if my kid falls down and breaks his arm, like now I got to watch my kid scream in pain for
Yeah.
14, 16 hours before a doctor even sees him, like that's terrible. Where I could literally drive across the border, explain to the border guard, get pulled in, be searched, raise a baby python in the same time that it would take to, like it's yeah. So that's my biggest gripe is just like the time, and then also the care isn't great, and also because if you go to school in Canada, and then which we have great medical schools here, do you want to get paid as a surgeon $500,000 American a year or $120,000 Canadian a year? Well, everyone goes to the States. The only doctors that are still here are doctors who, for some reason, couldn't go to the States.
Wow.
Yeah,
They're like the Adam Wickens of the medical world.
that's exactly it. That's it. It's the Wickens Wicked doctors of the medical world. Yeah.
Dude, you know what's funny? You said that, and I mean it's not funny. It was years ago, but my son literally fell down in grass. We didn't even see it happen. He just fell to his side, boom, broke his humerus, broke his arm.
That's the bad part of the arm to break, too. That's not a great part.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just fell down, snap, and but within hours he had a cast on and he was good to go.
Yeah. Wouldn't so the middle one now, Theo, he broke his leg in December. And that wasn't terribly long. I think it was like 5 or 6 hours. Usually with a kid, it's a little bit faster. Like they push them to the front. But
Yeah.
even then, like, and then going to checkups and stuff, like here, if you go to a doctor's appointment, like if your appointment, like, so for example, today, your doctor might not even show up until 2 p.m. Like it's like that. I remember
Oh
as a
my
kid
God.
sitting in is like our doctor appointment is at 8:30 in the morning. First one, let's get in and out. My parents had to work. And then like my doctor would stroll in at like quarter to noon. It
No
just
wonder why they're not getting paid.
it's dude, it's a joke. Like there's no incentive. And then we do have the incentive programs like you guys do, where like certain pharmaceutical companies like sponsor doctors. So who knows if you're getting the right thing, you're just getting the thing that gets them a commission. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, it's yep.
I think healthcare systems are probably broken just in different ways.
Mm.
There's so much wrong with what we have going on here. But at the same time, I used to work with a guy that moved to Florida from BC just to have heart surgery done.
Yeah.
And he said that it was like it was supposed to have been done like months and months and months prior, and it still hadn't been done. So the easiest solution for him was to find a job in America, move here, get benefits, have the surgery done, and then go back to Canada.
Yep. That's so it man, like so someone in my family died of cancer last year. And it was like if he was diagnosed in the States, he would have had a PET scan in 2 weeks. It took
Mm.
like 6 months. Like it
Oh my
so
God.
like dead.
I'm
There's no
sorry to hear
way.
that.
Yeah. It's terrible. But the point being, like, if you get diagnosed with something terrible here, it's basically a death sentence. And people say to me, "Oh, well, you're going to Vietnam. What happens if you get sick?" Well, I'll probably get better medical care than if I'm here,
Wow.
honestly. Like
Jeez
in third world
Louise.
countries, it's and especially a lot of these countries that I go to, they have American hospitals. I'd much rather get sick with something like that there than here, where oh, you've got whatever cancer, like name one that's a death sentence. Well, we're
Yeah.
gonna get to you in about 9 months. Your life expectancy is 6, so have a good one. Like that's kind of what it's like here.
Damn, dude. That
Yeah,
is wild. Now,
yeah.
are there like super rich people that like pay concierge doctors over there? Is that a thing or is that illegal?
Oh, it's illegal, but I'm sure it happens. Like I
Yeah,
don't
it's got
know,
to
but
happen.
yeah, I mean, like we live in the real world. Like I'm sure that definitely happens. But also, a lot of those people would probably just go to the states anyway. Anyone who has money like that doesn't live here in the winter. They live in Arizona or Florida anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, nobody here who
Man,
has money is living here in the winter, dude. Like, it's awful. It is awful here in the winter. Like now it's June. It's I am s- my mood is like I'm a different human being for half the year. It is so much nicer here.
oh, I bet. Well, dude, the amount of time that you are cold is insane to me because it was last year when we recorded was I think Halloween.
Yeah.
And you were like, yeah, it's cold. And I'm like, that's so wild, and then like months later, you're like, it's still cold.
Yeah, well, because we were talking about Halloween and it was freezing. Like we were bundled up, like kids wearing coats over their costumes, which is pretty common here, commonplace. But then now, like I think I just put my iguana and my tortoises outside less than a month ago, and they're
Oh
coming
yeah.
in September. So like, it's a short season.
Dude, congratulations, man. You got another one on the way?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, we're pretty prolific breeders here at Wickens Wicked
Yeah.
Reptiles. So that's been my favorite breeding project so far. So we're hoping for a healthy offspring. It's going to be a holdback. We're pretty sure. We'll see
Yeah.
how it is. If it's too loud or annoying or whatever, then we'll
Yeah.
see. But we're pretty
Can
sure
you
we're going to hold it back
export to America?
for it to give it a better life. That's something I should look into.
Oh man, that's awesome, dude. Yeah, congratulations. I mean, I mean, what's new? I mean, obviously the family's growing like crazy. You guys are popping out kids left and right, and but you did a lot of traveling since we spoke last.
Yeah, so I do like quite a bit of travel to the U.S. Pretty normal, which is great, and I do like being there. But then I did an Asia trip, and that didn't really go the way that I thought it was going to go. It was kind of awful, honestly. Like, and I did a video about it.
This episode is brought to you by Chewy. Most people think of Chewy for dog and cat food, but if you keep reptiles, you should absolutely be using them too. Chewy carries everything from all the brands you trust, like Exoterra, Arcadia, Zoomed, and everything in between. Live feeders to frozen rodents, enclosures, substrate, heat lamps, thermostats, water bowls, misters, and more, all in one place, shipped straight to your door. Sign up for Chewy Plus today, free for 30 days. You get free shipping, 5% rewards, and exclusive offers. I use Chewy, and you should too.
So the plan was to be there for 28 days. So I was going to be there for a month, and I was going to do Vietnam. So I was running a trip through this group called World Packers. So basically, I get a bunch of my subscribers to sign up, and then I take them on a trip, and we go herping or do whatever, right? And then I had two trips right after that. One of them got canceled, and they didn't let me know until like the day before, which
Mm.
was yeah. Anyway, that was a whole different thing. So then I have 2 weeks in between these two trips just to fill by myself. That was paid, it wasn't. Then now all of a sudden isn't. So, but it didn't end up mattering because I got pneumonia in Vietnam and had to go home early. So I missed the second trip, which I felt bad about, but also it was burning season and the air index was so bad they didn't have a scale for it. And I'm like, well, I can't breathe, so I'm going home. And then the doctor, when I got home, he's like, yeah, it's pretty good that you went home. Like this could have been. And
Wow.
Dave Kaufman was the guy who convinced me to go home too. Dave was like, "Hey man, I've been sick in Vietnam. Like if you go there, unless you go to an American hospital, like if you get rushed to a different hospital, they will not treat you if you look like you. Like it's just how it is there." So I'm glad that I
Wow.
went home. But it was definitely Dave that saved my bacon because I was ready. Like I don't bail on things. Like until I physically cannot go anymore, I will just keep doing things. But then he told me this story, and I'm like, yeah, all right, maybe I won't go.
Damn, dude. Well, all right. So tell me that whole story. I mean, just for anybody that hasn't seen the video, obviously they can go and watch that. But I mean, so like, how was the trip out there? The travel? Did you see cool things? And then when did it start? I mean, how the hell did you even get pneumonia?
So, well, I've got asthma anyway, so like my lungs aren't the greatest. But so we went out there, right? So we flew in, and my first stop or second stop was in Taiwan, and I actually met two of the subscribers there, which was super fun. So we sat there. It was like 7 in the morning, but who knows what time your body really thinks it is? So we're sitting there drinking beers, having a great time, and then we get on the plane from Taiwan to Vietnam to Da Nang. And then all of a sudden, I start feeling like a little weird in my stomach. I'm like, well, I just had like 4 beers, thinking I've been up for a day basically. And then they gave us this weird coffee that tasted like poop smells. Like it was awful. It was so bad. And I was told not to drink the coffee on the planes anyway. So then we get there and it's super hot. I just came from a cold climate and I'm feeling like not great. And then that night, everyone's sitting around drinking beers again. And at this point, we're up for like over a day. And I'm like, you know what? I don't feel that great. I'm gonna go to bed. 11 p.m. I wake up and then all of a sudden I am like urgently sick. So that I am just,
Mm.
and we got one bathroom in this room for like four guys. And it was mine for a day. And then the second day, and then the third day. And I just never got better. And then all of a sudden, like crazy fever. And like I missed the first day of herping. The second day I went and then like
Jeez.
spent most of the day in the woods by myself type thing. Third day, missed again. So it just never got better. And then eventually the fever came on and I just couldn't breathe all of a sudden. And then like to the point where like one of the guys in the group was a smoker and I just couldn't like be around him just because I'd get like one whiff of it. And which by the way, in Vietnam, like everybody smokes. Like there's like
Sure.
4-year-olds squatting, smoking. So I wish I was joking. And then yeah, and then so then we went to the second place in Vietnam. I went so after that trip ended, one of the guys, the guy who I met in Taiwan and his wife, we went to a different part of Vietnam, just like an hour away, Hue An. And I started to feel a little bit better, but then all of a sudden, like my stomach was fine and I could like be away from a facility for like 10 minutes. And then all of a sudden he got sick. And then a bunch of the other people apparently were sick. And then I just couldn't breathe anymore to the point where like it made me very nervous. And I was supposed to
Ah,
fly to Thailand the next day. And I had like a whole thing. I was gonna do like a mini doc on Lumpini Park. It's this park where there's just water monitors everywhere. It's crazy. And then Dave convinced me like book a ticket home instead. So I paid the 2 grand to go home instead of going to to Thailand. And then that was it. And then I went to go get a doctor's note so that I didn't get sued for not showing up for my second trip. And luckily, World Packers was fine with it. But yeah, man, I was like
wow.
as sick as I've ever been. And you're by yourself in a foreign country where no one speaks English. Yeah.
Dude, what do you think you got it from? Do you think it was something you ate? Do you think it was the poop that you drank or
I,
coffee?
I think it was the poop coffee. I think it was. That's because it was like I've had, and the thing too is in Vietnam the coffee's great. It's like one of the coffee places of the world. But on the way there, this was the worst coffee that I've ever had in my life.
Oh.
It literally tasted like poop smells. It was awful. And I was told don't drink like on this airline specifically, don't drink any of the water on it. And I didn't know that. And then also the first couple
Oh.
days I was brushing my teeth with tap water. Not dude, I've been everywhere in the world. Like this is on me. I should know better. But I did. And so I don't know if I got something because of that or and then my immune system was so weak and then everyone's smoking and the air quality's bad. So my lungs couldn't handle it. But yeah, it was I've been everywhere in the world, dude, and I've never been sick. Like maybe a bit in Madagascar, but that's kind of like part of it. But nothing like this. This is as sick as I've ever been. It was awful.
Tell me the Madagascar story.
Oh well, so Madagascar, like just the food is like when so you know how you rock up to a chicken place and then you go in there and you assume the chicken like was bust in. Well, no, they
Mhm.
kill it in front of the store. So like you show up, right? And there's like chickens everywhere. And then when you leave, there's feathers everywhere. So like the chicken that took
Mm.
45 minutes, the reason it took 45 minutes is because they killed it in front and then they brought it in the back and then they cooked it. And then when you order chicken here, you're gonna get like a thigh, a breast, whatever, chicken wing. There, it's like, okay, and here's the gizzard, and here's the lung, and like that's what they serve to you. So they don't like, and the chickens are the size of crows, like they're tiny. So
Mm.
Anyway, so the point is, like, we'd rock up to a bus, and then our guy Patrick, he'd be like, all right, we're going to have a local lunch, and local lunch means diarrhea for the next 48 hours. That's what that means. So, dude, it was like literally stop the bus, and like someone would like run out, and which is normal there because you're literally going down these villages, right? And this is the fourth poorest country in the world. It is literally exactly like those Christian children's fun videos from the 90s. It is
Wow.
exactly like that. Those might have been filmed in these villages we went through, and you're going through, and there's open sewers. So you'll just see a kid walk, pull his pants down, go, pull his pants back up, and keep walking. And nobody turns, like, that's just how
Whoa.
it is there. That's just how it is. And like people, so there's an animal called a tenerac, which kind of looks like a hedgehog. We wanted to see one. The only one that we saw was a guy had it on a stick dangling from it because he was selling it for meat. So it's like
Ugh.
that. It's yeah, I'm glad that I went, but I'll never go back to Madagascar. Like, you're sick
Really?
almost every day. And I took the Ducarol. So Ducarol is like this oral vaccine that so you don't get sick.
Yeah.
Didn't matter. And all of us got sick. Like Bill Strand, like missed one of the things, missed one of the herping trips because he was so sick. You want to take malaria medication when you're there, but the malaria medication makes you sick. So I didn't take the medication. Luckily, didn't get malaria. So no matter what you do, like, you're just in a bad position to the point where even some of the locals, the Madagascar locals, ended up getting sick.
Jeez, dude.
Yeah.
You're making me not want to travel ever.
Well, and like these are two bad stories, but every other story is great. I went to Costa Rica, dude. Amazing food, amazing
Mm.
time. The people are great. I mean, sure, there's like armed guards at every ATM, and you have to make sure that no one's following you. But besides that, like, yeah, that's just most of the world, by the way. But like that was great. Like my first Asia trip that I went in 2022 with Dave, didn't get sick once. Food was perfect, just absolutely great. Yeah, they're just certain parts of the world. Also, I do have to keep in mind too, like, I am now in my mid 30s, so maybe my stomach doesn't do things the way that it used to. But
Yeah.
also, I'm not 70, and also Dave is 78 or however old he is. So, and he's
Yeah.
fine. So yeah, maybe it's just me.
Yeah. Maybe it's got to be he's just old and acclimated to it all.
But he's a different species too. I'm pretty sure. Like him and like Bigfoot and his mother. I'm pretty sure that's what happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Him and Johnny Venom, they're like long lost cousins or something.
Dude, Johnny was pulled out of a swamp somewhere and then gave like he looks like he's in a boy band, but also Shrek at the same time. Like, I don't know. That dude he is like such a the first time I met Johnny, like, so we were at Animal Con and I'm signing an autograph for somebody, and he just like apes up to me and picks me up like I am a child and just walks up. Never met him before. And just that is my introduction to Johnny. Like, he is something else. He's an interesting guy.
Yeah, yeah, I can't wait to meet him. Do you ever and obviously, traveling to America, you probably have like you've never had like a bad story from that, right?
No,
It's
never.
always
No, everything's
yeah.
been good with in the States. And like, I like being there. Like, every time I'm there, it's like, I don't say like it feels like home, but it feels like it's so similar though, right? Especially because I grew up in a border town. So like, we grew up on American TV and American radio and the whole thing, right? So it's very much what I'm used to. There's no culture shock at all, like it is anywhere else you go.
Yeah. Now, do you plan on doing Daytona or anything? Do you ever do Daytona?
Oh, you mean go to Florida in the summer? No, I'm good.
For
No, I'm good, dude. I appreciate the offer, but no,
It's mostly indoors.
yeah. Well, so like, I have a very expensive backyard that I like to spend time in, and it's good for 3 months of the year. So I'm not leaving for those
Mm,
3 months. It's funny. I was just invited to go to somewhere in Las Vegas, and so I gotta, yeah, it's Chris, and I'm just gonna be like, I just can't. Sorry, I can't, I'm not available.
yeah.
I don't want to go. Yeah, I try not to leave during the summer, but like Daytona, I would love to do if it was in February. The reason they don't do it in February, I assume, is because it's much cheaper to do in August. But I'm doing Tinley in a couple weeks, so I don't know when this video comes out, but probably after Tinley.
Probably after Tinley, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to get up there at some point. But that kind of makes sense that you would, want to be at your house, be home during the best time of the year
Yeah, I
for
mean,
that.
but hey, if you guys have trips down south anytime between, say, November and April, sign me. Don't even ask me. Just book me a flight. I'm ready to go. I will leave. I got no problem.
Hell yeah, man. So what do you have any more trips abroad planned? Are you in the middle of planning anything out?
Yeah, so I'm gonna do World Packers again. And I think that we're so I got this baby coming in the end of September or beginning of October. So I was hoping to do something at the end of the year. Obviously, apparently you have to be there for the birth of your children. It's like a big thing my wife told me. So I'm not going to leave for that. But January, I want to do Costa Rica. So I want to bring a bunch of subscribers to Costa Rica, and then we're going to do conservation through this company that kind of protects sea turtle nests. So I think that'll
Oh,
be pretty cool
nice.
to do. So you do patrols, and then you get to see like sea turtles hatching and stuff. And then likely I book a trip right after that, so it'll be Costa Rica again. So like do a double or do Ecuador since you're like right there, right? And then I would like to do Vietnam again the end of next year, and then I might want to do the exact trip that I planned, but then not get sick this time. That's the idea.
Yeah, it kind of makes me wonder if you could just have like all prepackaged like protein bars and stuff and just survive on those the entire time you're there,
Well,
you
like
know?
the cuisine there is great. Like I actually didn't like the banh mi. The banh mi are like the sandwiches that everyone. It was like processed. It was gross, but like everything else was really good. I think that I just got something bad that and I just never got better from it. But I can't wait. Next time, I'm excited. And the thing too is like at the time I'm not doing this food channel anymore. I don't think I filmed a bunch of videos and like they're ready to go. So maybe I'll put them on Patreon. But I was planning on launching a food channel. So the whole thing was like, I'm in Asia. I'm going to film 10 videos.
Mm.
I lost 22 pounds in a week. So
Whoa.
I didn't eat anything. Like I literally ate nothing but bananas and water and their electrolyte drink there. That's like akin to Gatorade.
Uh, damn, dude. Yeah, I recently went through a stomach bug myself, and yeah, it ruins everything, man.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but it threw off my appetite for probably a solid 2 months, I would say, before I was fully 100% like, yes, I want to eat food like normal again.
Well, not only that, but it's like draining. Like I came home early and I remember sitting on the couch with my wife and we're trying, and it's like 6 p.m. or something. And I'm like, can we just watch a show? Like, I don't want to, I'm tired. I fell asleep. Like, I could not stay awake. 6 p.m.
Wow.
So, that was like that for maybe 2 weeks. Like, it was a while until I was normal. And even so, like, I went to Denver and this was like maybe 3 weeks later. And I had more than one person be like, hey, dude, you look like you lost a lot of weight. Now, don't worry, I gained it all back. And then some probably. But like, I had several people be like, yo, you look like sick. I'm like, oh, thanks. And I by that time I already gained probably 10 pounds back. So yeah, it was not great.
Jeez. Yeah, don't you love that when somebody tells you you look gaunt? I had
Yeah.
that happen once. I'm like, geez, thanks, man. You know?
Yeah. Well, especially too, because like, and there was a couple people in the group like that were they thought they were doctors. So the one guy's like, dude, I don't know, man, maybe your liver's failing. Like what? Like, stop doing this. And then I'm like, the very end of the trip, and this one lady on the trip was like, what if something's like really wrong with you? Like, what if you're
Oh
really
my God.
sick? Anyway, gotta catch my flight. See ya. I'm like, why would you do that? Like, that. And like the thing is too, when you're that sick for that long, you get like anxious, right? You're so
Oh,
anxious,
yeah.
like because it's like this health anxiety that normally I don't have, and I'm like, and then for like 2 days, I'm like, what if she's right? Like, what if I'm actually really sick? And then I
Yeah.
wasn't, which is great. I don't know. I don't go to doctors, so maybe I am really sick, but I feel fine.
Holy crap, man. Yeah, see, I go to doctors and yeah, if I get something, yeah, after a couple days, you're like, what if this is like something serious, you know?
Yep. Yeah. No, I grew up in a household where like going to a doctor is like for sissies. So I'm kind of like, which it
Mm,
isn't, by the way. You should go to doctors. But yeah, I don't.
yeah.
I'll get carried into a doctor one day and he'll tell me all the things that I've neglected over the last 35 years. But until then, I feel great. I'm doing great.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah.
Well, you are now. You are
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. We'll see. Hopefully there's not like Wickens Wicked Reptiles dies in Costa Rica. I don't know. Like we'll hopefully not.
You'd have to pre-record your own demise
Yeah, if
to
anyone
save
on a
it.
trip ever sees me get bit by something I shouldn't get bit by, just keep the camera rolling. I know that's not like what you should do, but just do it anyway. After I'm gone, I need a million view video to carry on my family or something, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like, this is for my kids.
Yeah.
As you're bleeding out of your eyes.
Oh man. Yeah, so it's crazy too. So like this trip that we went on for Vietnam, like the first herping that I actually went on was a night herping, like just road herping, like on the sides of the street. And it was with a bunch of guys who have never been herping before. So I'm like, okay, even if we find a gecko, they'll be super happy about it. The very first thing we found was a banded crate, which is the most venomous thing that you could
Wow.
find there. And it was a guy who had never been herping before, never left his country before. He lives in somewhere in Europe. And he's like, is that a worm? I think that's a snake. And it's a freaking banded crate. And we all walked by it. And this guy saw it. So it was
Wow.
super cool. So the whole experience was great. The entire group was great. There was no fighting, no bickering, and which is hard with a group of like 15 people that have never met each other before.
Yeah.
And it was honestly, if I wasn't sick, that might have been the best trip I've ever been on. It was such a good group of people, and a lot of them want to do the Costa Rica trip, and I hope that they do because it just the vibe was there. It was great.
Yeah, man. Costa Rica sounds really good. I don't think I've heard a single bad story from anybody that's gone to Costa Rica.
No, and like the trip that we did there was awesome, and I went with some other creators. Mike Taitula and Dion Reptiliadis, and we had a camera guy there, and it was wicked. That was my first trip ever. Like that was just barely like started doing this full time, and they invited me, and I'd never been on a trip like that before. It was awesome, and so if I do Costa Rica again, I'll probably use that guy that we used, and then do like my own solo thing after, just to get like some herping videos. Because that is the thing too, is like when you're trying to guide a group of people, my goal is to like make them happy. Like I want to see they paid a bunch of money. I get paid to go. They paid to be there. I want them to see everything they want to see. If they want to hold something first, like it's not like we're an influencer trip. It's like, oh, I found it. I got to film with it right away. It wasn't really like that. So
Mm.
I'm going there not as much to make content like I would if I'm going with like Dave or like the Peepa squad, Dion and Mike. So it's just a different type of trip. So which is why I was so excited to go to Thailand after, and then kind of have 2 weeks by myself and then get to film. And so I hired a guide in Chiang Mai, and I was going to go with him. And then there was a guide in Bangkok I wanted to go with, and then I wanted to do the documentary at Lumpini Park. And then just all my plans didn't work. And that's what I thought too. I'm like, even if I go, am I going to be able to do any of this work? And the answer
Yeah.
was no. So I'm like, then what's the point? I'll just go home.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you made the right call. Pneumonia is no joke, dude.
Well, who's that NASCAR driver? He just died of
Oh,
sepsis
yeah.
because he ignored the pneumonia.
Yeah.
Kyle
Yeah,
Busch.
that's what gets people, man,
Yeah.
is you get COVID or the flu or something, and then it turns into a bacterial infection and you're screwed.
Yeah, you can't wait too long. That's the problem. And so I did end up seeing a pharmacist and a doctor in Vietnam, which was nice. Which by the way, you go to a pharmacy there and you don't need a prescription. They'll just give you whatever Baytril 500 or whatever. She's like, and
Really?
she's like, this will kill your liver, kill your kidneys. And I'm like, oh, okay, good. Like, meanwhile, I think my liver is failing because some guy told me that it was, and turned out it was fine. It was good. So whatever infection I had, it cleared it up. It was good. But
You're like,
yeah.
the people in my group are prescribing ivermectin. I need it stat.
It's funny too because and some guy was like, he's like, I've got this silver you should eat. I'm like, what?
Oh boy.
Yeah, and like the way, and it turned out it is a treatment that a lot of people use, but at the time I'm like, okay, guy I just met, I don't think so. I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah.
eating your, because he's like, I made it myself with batteries. Like,
Oh
okay,
no.
and it turned out like it sounded crazy, but like I don't think it was crazy. I think that probably
I
would have
still
helped.
wouldn't put that in my body. That sounds wild.
Yeah, well, that's exactly it. Yeah. So generally, someone that like makes something in their basement with batteries, they try not to ingest in any way, shape, or form.
I remember my brother got COVID and my parents were like, do you want some ivermectin? And my brother's like, what?
Yeah.
They're like, we haven't tried it yet, but we want to see what happens.
Yeah. Well, the nice thing is like ivermectin is pretty much like water. Like nothing happens unless you like super dose it. So at
Yeah,
least you'd
yeah.
be all right. I don't know if it's gonna cure you, but at least it's not gonna make you sick. Like
It
don't
might
put
knock
bleach
out some
in your veins
parasites or
anything.
something,
Exactly. There you go. Yeah, it works for horses. I got that dog in me, so like it works. It's veterinary
It
medicine.
does, dude. So legit in Florida, I had friends that were getting the ivermectin paste and eating it.
Yeah, probably shouldn't be doing that. Maybe. Yeah. I mean, you could probably just go to your doctor and he'd give it to you. You'd be all right.
Yeah. At the time, they were probably worried they wouldn't get approved, so they were like, "I'll just do this myself."
Yeah. Well, I mean, Yeah,
medicine.
that was a crazy time for sure. I'm looking forward to the next pandemic. It'll be fun.
Oh boy, I am not. If it's like 100 years from now, I'll be good with that. You know?
Well, yeah. Then they started doing this whole thing. Oh, hantavirus is gonna be. I'm like, bro, it's been 6 years. Like, give me a break. Like, let my kids deal with
Yeah.
this. I don't want to deal with this. You know, like let it be like 30 years down the line when I don't care anymore. You know,
It looks like they're that. I mean, it's wild watching those interviews because the people on the media are trying so hard to hype it, and then they'll
yeah,
bring an expert in and they'll be like, "We're really not worried about this," and they're like, "But should we be worried?" You know, and it's like they
yeah.
want so bad for it to be something.
Well, I saw side by side with like COVID and Hanta, and it's the exact same play, the exact
Hmm.
same cruise ship, people falling down, and then like the camera cuts, and there's like a guy who was supposed to be a body, and he like sits up. It's the exact dude. It's the same thing. It is exactly. I'm not trying to make a conspiracy guy, but like,
I think just recently, I think Jon Stewart. I saw it on YouTube. Jon Stewart had a great bit on the hantavirus, and it was like showing they had a counter for how many people are infected, and it was just like two, you
yeah.
know, and it's like, and it's like, what are we doing, guys?
Well, it's like I remember like Ebola in like 2014, and then you could like walk into a store and be like, I have Ebola, and then people would scatter. And then you look at how many people like in the US or Canada was infected, and it was like six. Like
Yeah.
it's people just get all hysterical over nothing. But I mean, that is the media machine, and in order to get the clicks, then you kind of have to like be provocative like that.
Well, and I get worried about the hantavirus because of, is it Hanta or Hanta? I can't
I
remember.
don't
Either
know.
way, but I'm concerned about that because it comes from rodents, right? You know, and with our industry and the feeder rodents being, you know, so integral, such a huge part of us feeding our animals, it's like, man, you know, I get concerned about potential regulations or something, but luckily it seems like it's died down, and I think we're going to be good.
Yeah, I think so too. Oh, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. The world is definitely crazier and crazier, and the way that it's escalating, I don't know.
I
We'll
know.
see. We'll see how
I
it
know.
goes. But for now, I'm just down here in my basement with my reptiles, and none of them get, are wearing face masks, and everything's fine. There's no hand washing stations down here, and no
Yeah.
quarantine. Like it's good. Well, there is quarantine. Maybe that was
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah. What are
Yeah,
you saying? There's no
yeah,
quarantine.
yeah. No, there definitely is. Unless you read Reddit, in which case I don't quarantine. I don't know if you. I made a whole video about Reddit comments. Man, what a cesspool that place is.
I did see that video. I did
Yeah.
see that video. Yeah, it's I mean, so with your whole run in with Nido and everything, I don't even know, I don't think we even covered that. Because I think that happened just after we recorded last.
Yeah, it
I
would have
mean, what
happened. Well, yeah, I wasn't talking about it yet. Yeah, because I was trying to figure out what the the farm and importer were going to do before I decided I was trying to decide which way to steer it. Like, am I getting screwed here? And then like go that
yeah.
way, or and it wasn't that at all, which was fantastic. Like the farm did, like they treated me right, which was nice. And everybody, by the way, not just me. It wasn't just some big mouth on the internet that they're like, oh well, but we don't know. They treated everybody right, which was great. So I that worked out very well. But in a nutshell, basically, I got in a bunch of snakes from Indonesia that had nidovirus, and nidovirus, if it gets in your collection, like that can ruin your entire collection. And
Yeah.
it's one of those things when once your snake has it, there's no way that we know of to get rid of it. So that snake could be sick today, could be sick tomorrow, could be a year, but it could infect all your other snakes. So I quarantined, obviously, even if Reddit says that I didn't, and which is why all my other snakes aren't dead. So, but those snakes, all
Mhm.
six of those had to be, well, some of them died, but the other ones had to be euthanized.
Can you so what did you learn any lessons from that, or was it fairly like you had, you know, protocols in place and you were able to handle the situation?
So, and like all the Condor people will, how didn't you know about Nido? Like I didn't. I did a lot of research on Condoros, like locales, and I was like looking up temperatures and like where, on Aru right now, what's the temperature? But I didn't really run into Nido, and like I knew it was a thing, but the same way that I know like crypto's a thing, and all these other things. But then once I got the animal and it started to show RI, it was MJ actually, and he's like, you should get that tested for Nido if you haven't already. And I didn't even
Mm,
think of it, honestly. Like, I wanted to get it tested for parasites and everything else, even though it came as captive bred, even though it was a farm raised animal. And as soon as he said that, I'm like, okay. And then I took it to the vet and got it tested for Nido. And sure enough, it was positive. And then I explained it to the farm, and then they dealt with it how they dealt with it. And then eventually I got the rest of them tested, and they were all positive.
Jesus.
And a few of them died naturally, but then once I realized what it was and was confirmed, I just euthanized the rest because they weren't getting better. And it's really terrible to watch. Like, you're watching this animal literally drown in its own lungs. And I'm an asthmatic. I know what that's like. I know what it's like to be gasping for air. It's torture. So yeah, you euthanize the rest, and no more condors for me.
Damn, that's a bummer, dude.
Yeah.
It really is. And yeah, I mean, there's so few people like actually like working on that virus and how to potential treatments and therapeutics and everything. But hopefully, Dr. Stephen Tillis, right here in Florida, he's doing a lot with it. And yeah, I'm so paranoid about it. Like, what is your quarantine protocol like?
So I quarantine. It depends on what it is. So like imported things, like I've got stuff. I have a pair of rainbow boas I got over a year ago that are still in quarantine. Like with pythons especially, like I'm very careful because I know all the things that pythons can have. But anything that's wild caught comes, it's for a year at least for sure. Pythons are usually a year. So these pythons would still be in quarantine now, even if nothing was wrong with them. I had
Mm,
them quarantined in their own room. So there wasn't even any sort of like air that could, which I know isn't how Nido gets moved around. Um, but like tongs, for example, like tongs are for this room and they don't leave this room ever. And this mister is for this room and it never goes anywhere else. So everything is like, I treat it like a hospital. Like I treat it the way, like, I understand cross contamination very well. So yeah, everything has its own thing and nothing gets transferred and there's no way. Even like shoes. So if I leave a room, like we had a mite outbreak last year in one of the rooms. My shoes stayed in that room. And then when I left, I scrubbed my feet before I went anywhere else. And then my
mm,
clothes went into the hand or went into the washing machine, and the washing machine gets turned on. And then I walk upstairs naked like a weirdo. Like that's just how it was. But by the way, I don't know if like I know we're kind of switching gears here, but I tried the Next Guard for snakes, for mites. Dude, what a game changer. If
yeah.
someone were to package that for snakes, because that's the problem, is dosing it is such a pain in the ass because it's literally minuscule little tiny granules for smaller snakes. Even for like my big 25-pound boa, it was like a tiny little piece. But I'm
Yeah.
telling you, it works. Like that is the most effective mite treatment that I've ever tried.
And yeah, dude, I've been screaming that from the mountaintops for quite a while now since I heard about it, especially for folks like you that keep bioactive. Like you don't want to kill your entire enclosure and break it
No,
down,
nope.
and those mites only survive with a reptile host. So just treat the host and you're good to go.
Yeah, exactly. But I couldn't believe. So I've dealt with mites forever and ever, especially because I used to take in a lot of free ball pythons and stuff. So I
Mm,
would get mites all the time, and usually it was in just in the quarantine room. But then it reinfects in the quarantine room, especially when I had a smaller house and I didn't have like 4 quarantine areas. But doing an entire collection, dude, that I remember the first time and I didn't know what I was doing. And it was back then. What it was is clean everything with soap and water, put everything on paper towel only, and then each of the snakes, you take coconut oil and you coat the snake in coconut oil, and that kills the mites. That was like
mhm.
back then. This is like 2017 or something. And then that was hours every single day. Now you can just feed the snake rodent that has the stuff in it, and that walk away, and that's it. And then
Yeah.
I could not believe how effective it was. It was like a magic wand.
I know. Could you imagine if they would just market that in the States? It would be wild. They have it in the UK. There's a company that has it. It's in a dropper formula. So you just like I guess you just drop it into a feeder or you just stick it down the throat of your snake and squirt in the dose. But they have it
Well,
there. So
Well, there is a sponsor that you and I have that I have been trying to convince, but it is, turns out the bigger the company, the longer. Like that's the thing too, is you have to think the legal ramifications too. Like you'd have to make sure that it
yes.
works, and
Yep.
it has to be. I'm sure the hoops that you'd have to jump through would be insane. But and also I can't in good conscience be like, go buy this stuff from Australia, which is where you have to get it
Yep.
from because you can get it without a prescription. Ship it to your house. It might get taken by customs, by the way, and
Yep.
then dose it yourself. Like I can't tell people to do that, but I can say it does work. I've tried it myself and it does work.
Yeah, yeah. I always make sure to, give the disclaimer to talk to your veterinarian about it. Luckily, I have a lot of people in my Discord that have gone through their veterinarians and gotten the prescription through their vet and dosed it out. My friend Paul actually had a compounding pharmacy compound it for baby scrub pythons. So
Wow. Okay.
they were so small that they needed to have this like really lightweight dose from a compounded pharmacy, and he was able to dose all of them and took care of it.
Yeah, I don't know that I could find anything like that here. Like, so just to give you an idea how far we are behind in veterinary medicine, there's one lab in Ontario that can do the nidovirus testing. I'd ask for it to be done. The veterinarians here like didn't really, they've never done it before. And then
Wow.
so I can do it here, but I think for Rel, it's like 25 bucks a snake. Here it was 165 bucks per snake. And then it has to get sent overnight to this place in Guelph, which is like our big veterinary hospital here in Ontario. And then it's like a week later you get your result. Now for me, I
Mm,
was very lucky. It was like 2 days the first time, and then it was like a week the second time. But with you guys, it's just you order the kit, you do the swab yourself, and then you send it. Here, I had to go
sure.
to the vet to swab them, otherwise they wouldn't take it. And then I have to pay like the labor basically for the vet to actually do it. So it was like hundreds of dollars per snake. And I
Sure.
eventually, the lab or the farm took care of me, and it's not up to them to pay for my veterinary bills. But boy, do I wish it cost 25 bucks a snake rather than hundreds of dollars a snake. Because by the time you get your credit back, which by the way, I can't wait to talk about what I'm getting with my credit. It's like it eats half your credit for just the testing itself.
Yeah, yeah. What are you getting?
I'm getting a whole shit ton of monitors, dude. I'm so excited. Like not even like a bunch. It's like so. Here's what I'm getting. There's a Varanus, so a monitor species called Varanus obor. So it's a torch monitor. Like I mean, you're wearing the shirt. You probably know. Nick has them, but nobody, like almost nobody's working with them. This
Yeah.
species wasn't even described until 2010. So it's very unique, and it's not technically an indica species, but like it kind of acts like one. So anyway, I'm excited for those. Like that's an animal that I saw and I'm like, I need to have. And then I'm getting a pair of Varanus celebensis, so like the really tiny Asian water monitors,
Mm.
which is going to be great. I got enclosures set up for them. I just don't know what size they're going to come at. Like I ordered them as babies, but if they come any bigger, we'll see.
Are they
Uh,
captive? Are they like farm raised or like where
they're
are they coming from?
so here's the thing with this farm is like they're captive, but I don't know if they're captive or like I know they produce them. The thing is, like, I don't know what the controls are like at the farm because
Yeah.
I've watched, and so I think it was Viperia that did the video, and it's like, all right, here's our state of the art monitor room, and then you see like house geckos on the wall on the inside. Well, those animals are shitting inside, like you know what I mean, like any parasites that those things have, if they poop into the enclosures, well,
Yeah.
there's parasites in your enclosures. And and I know for sure one of the monitors that I had that came in had worms. And even though it was a captive bred animal. And by the way, I'm not trying to be mean or talk badly about the farm. Like they do a great job over there. But that's just the reality of it. If you keep animals outside, they are going to have parasites likely. That's just part of it. And
Yeah.
selling them as captive, I don't really appreciate that because a captive bred animal to me means it's in a facility where wild animals can't get to it. And it's coming to me generally parasite free. That's what I think of. Farm raised means it's outside. Like to me, that's like the distinction. But the animals that I got, like those pythons that I got, they were sold to me as captive bred. To me, they're not. That's farm to me.
Yeah, it's weird. It is weird. I mean, like, okay, I keep my diamond pythons outside, and if I reproduce them and incubate the eggs inside, would you consider those captive bred or, I
No, they're
mean,
captive because if the babies are inside, like from the egg all the way
sure.
to they're in. But here's the other thing too: is you don't have the native parasites of diamond pythons, whereas these guys in Indonesia they do have the native parasites. So I'm not saying that your diamond pythons couldn't get a parasite in Florida, right?
Oh, yeah,
Eh,
we have way worse here.
Yeah, like of course. So but I I think there's a distinction there that if you have an Indonesian
Yeah.
species in Indonesia, then those parasites that have been preying on those animals for however many hundreds of thousands, millions of years or whatever, they're there in the ecosystem. Where the parasites that you have in Florida, say, sure, I'm not saying that the snakes can't get parasites there. That's ridiculous to say. But
Yeah.
perhaps I would love to see like someone who actually is smart. By the way, I'm just talking in my ass here. I'm just guessing.
Hey,
I
me and you both, buddy.
right. So if there's someone out there who's like, yo, what you're saying is wrong, that might be the case. I'm not speaking from authority here. I'm just guessing that there is probably less likely, or at least they'd be different, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, this
Yeah.
is the idiot and the idiot podcast today, buddy. Sorry.
Two Adams,
Mm.
two idiots. I go out of my way to like my diamond pythons that are outside, they are treated as if they are worse than quarantine animals, because in my opinion they are, because we do have the invasive lungworms here that actually came here from imported Burmese pythons.
Oh,
And so that's definitely a concern of mine, but I made sure that the mesh on the cages would be small enough that other snakes wouldn't be coming in. And, I think they would have to be eating anoles and things that are running, like lizards that are running around outside. So, yeah, I mean, it's definitely a concern of mine. But like I said, it's, I don't handle them and then come in and handle my other animals. That's not how it works.
I think it's the safe way to do it too. And the thing too with your snakes is they're outside all year, right?
Yeah.
So you're not really introducing them back into a room where the animals that I keep outside. Well, also you have to. I think there's a huge distinction between Florida and Canada
Mm-hmm.
too, because I
Oh,
get these
yeah.
comments all the time. Well, you're going to bring in parasites. What parasites? Like ticks, I'll see. We do have ticks here, obviously. You're not. There's no snake mites here because there's no snakes here. I mean, we've got
Yeah.
a species of garter snake, and that's kind of it where I live, like around me. There's no fox snakes here. Like the rattlesnakes are up north. Like there's nothing like that you're going to find. Water snakes maybe, but those are like by bodies of water. I don't live there. There's no frogs in my yard that my iguana or tortoises are going to be eating. They're not eating really anything. Maybe bugs, but there's not really reptile parasites here. Not saying that there aren't parasites that could transfer to them, but I don't feel like it's a concern to bring my iguana back inside and then infect the rest of my collection. I just don't think that's a concern.
Yeah, I mean, anything that they would likely pick up outside is probably the same crap you would get from uh, your feeder crickets, right? Like,
Exactly.
aren't pinworms an issue with feeder crickets? I think I've heard that.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, and that's the thing too is like even if I don't bring my and people don't like this either, but I use a ton like all these enclosures, dude. You think where do you think I got this wood from? Like I don't have a tree forest that I just in a dome. Like it comes from
yeah.
outside. Like all these things come from outside. And sure, you can try to clean them as much as you want, but if you have bark on those trees, like there's still stuff inside of them. There's still
How
going to
how
be
do you
microfauna.
how do you get your all the things that you're putting in the enclosures? How do you prep them before you put them in?
I don't, and people don't like it, but I don't care. I mean,
Dog,
especially if
you're
it's like
wild, man. You're living a
it's
wild life over there.
well, so I harvest in February and it's -50. Not negative
Yeah.
50, that's an exaggeration, but like say -10, right? So anything that's in them is not no longer in them, like
Fahrenheit or Celsius?
Celsius.
Oh, yeah.
So that
What
might
the
be
hell
like
is -10?
5 degrees Fahrenheit, something like that, maybe. I could
Yeah,
be wrong.
yeah.
But it's
Yeah,
it's
it's
below freezing.
sure. Yeah. So what I do, a little trick that I picked up recently is Dr. Tillis uses and the indoor grow tents with the clear front.
Yep.
He puts those outside and puts all of his wood in there, and that sucker gets up well over 200 degrees on a sunny summer day because of
Mhm.
the greenhouse effect where it's just capturing all that radiation. So I think that's what I'm going to start doing with my big branches, because I just got an 8 foot long enclosure and I have a bunch of wood, and I'm like, I don't want to bring it into the house because it's coming from Florida and we have termites and ants and post hole beetles or whatever they are. Like we have all these different things that I have to worry about that I need to kill off if they're burrowed into the center of that branch.
Well, that's the big difference, right? Is like you guys have issues like that you have to deal with where
Yeah,
we really don't. And we don't have a lot of those things. And like I've never seen a termite in my life. So
that's wild.
we got like spiders and stuff. Don't get me wrong, but I mean in February, none of those things and like all these branches, like I still like I'll wash them off or whatever, right? Just to make sure there's not like bird poop or something. but I'm not worried. And I've never had an issue. The only issue I've ever had is we had a millipede invasion in that big enclosure back there. But I mean, the
Really?
animals inside just ate the millipedes anyway. And it was millipedes that were born in the enclosure. It wasn't like they were like, there was probably eggs in there that survived. But that was like a non-event. And I'm not saying that what I do is perfectly safe and everybody should do it, but I'm just saying that is what I do. And doesn't matter how many mean names you call me in the comments, I'm still gonna
Yeah.
do it. Like I think it's perfectly fine. If I lived in Florida or Texas or something, then it'd be totally different. I'm not saying that you should do that there. But if you live in a place where it's minus 10 degrees for 3 months, like have at it, man. Go nuts.
Yeah. Yeah, I watched that Reddit comment episode that you referenced before, and I thought that the one where they called you out for being short, which you've never
Right.
hidden that, and then it was like he's MAGA and short.
Yeah. Yep.
It's like,
Well,
geez
yeah.
Louise.
Well, I'm mega because I'm short. I have little man syndrome, and that's why I like trucks and guns, and I don't like animal laws. Like, all right, okay, cool logic, dude. But it's crazy how many people like run with it, dude. Like it only happened once, but I had a guy who was like very right wing come up to me, and he's like one of these, like we're together, and I'm like, why do you think that? Like I don't talk about my political opinions, and I don't live in this country. I live in a different country, so like I didn't vote in your race. And then the whole thing, like, well, you follow Donald Trump on, yeah, but I also followed Kamala Harris. Like, I just want to know what's going on. Like, I just
Yeah, yeah,
want to know, and also like it's the president of because I don't know if you follow football at all, but Jackson Dart, he's the quarterback for the Giants, and he did some address for Trump, and oh, I'm no longer a Giants fan. I'm like, cry me a river, dude. Are you kidding me right now? He was at an event for the president of the United States. Like, what an honor that must be for a professional athlete to do. So even if you don't, maybe he doesn't like the guy, but like to
yeah.
whine and complain because he like it's a White House event, like it's an all I don't know. To me, it's very unpatriotic to hate on that, in my
Well,
opinion.
and I mean, just looking at it logically, if that individual were to be offered the opportunity to go to an event and speak his mind or say whatever, are you going to turn that down, or
Right.
are you going to take advantage of that opportunity?
Well,
I mean,
and the way that I looked at it is like if it went the other way and Kamala Harris was the president, I bet you he would still go. Like I don't think it has anything to do with
oh
like
sure, yeah,
it's just it to be invited to something like to introduce the president at something. To me, like I'm not even American, and to me that seems like one of the coolest honors ever. Like even
yeah,
here, like if the prime minister was like, "Yo, can you bring me up on stage?" Like even if I didn't vote that way, sure, no problem. Like at least I in my opinion, whoever the president is in your country, or prime minister in my country, even if I didn't vote for that person, I still want them to be successful. Like, so if people, oh, are you a Trump supporter? Well, I hope that he's successful. He's leading the country, just as like because we have like a left leader here, you have a right leader there. Still here, like I want our prime minister to be successful because it's the country that I live in. Like the future of my children is being dictated right now. So even if I don't like the guy and I think that what he's doing is wrong, I want him to be successful in leading the country. So this whole thing
yeah.
of like, how dare you associate? Like that's who's running the country. It doesn't matter if you like it or not. Just like live in reality.
It is. Well, yeah, we live in such a weird time right now. I mean, that's like a friend of mine is on a dating app, and he was going through, and like, there's people like straight up just throwing their politics right into their dating profiles.
Get a
Like,
life.
don't talk to me if you believe in X, Y, and Z, or have cats, right? And like that part I get,
Yeah.
but like
Oh yeah.
it's
Yeah. Oh, I get that too, man. Cat people, are you kidding me? Phew.
oh man, yeah, it's like what, like it's kind of important to talk to people that you disagree with. I mean, that's
Otherwise, you
the
live in an
only.
echo chamber, which is the problem. That's why, if you're like on this side and you only watch CNN, like you live in the same thing on the other side. If you only watch Fox News, like you are in an echo chamber. You're only listening. And so I'm listening to a podcast right now on Chris Willing's podcast. And he's talking to a guy and he's an expert in negotiation and an expert in like media and what they do. And the idea is you want people to fight laterally so that you don't look up which
Mhm.
is the people that maybe you should be upset with, right? The people who have everything and make all the rules, why are you upset with the guy who's wearing a different color tie? Like, that's so stupid. At the end of the day,
Yeah.
even if you and I don't agree politically, we're the same thing, you know? Like, we're just regular human beings. Like, it shouldn't dictate our entire life which side that we voted for last year. To me, that
Yeah.
is so dumb. And people who make it their entire personality, like, I don't want to be anywhere around you. And anyone who
Yeah.
makes anything their entire personality, I think that you're just a boring person and I don't want to be around you.
Unless it's reptiles.
Well, unless it's but that's different. We're better than everybody else. So that's totally different. But like even so, like
I am
sometimes
the snake guy at work.
so well, and I was for a long time, but like even like if I go to like an expo now, when I'm at dinner later, very rarely are we talking about reptiles. Like we
Yeah.
will, but like the entire conversation isn't that, you know. And I think
Yeah.
that's really important to you can be brought together by certain things. Like you and I are brought together by reptiles, obviously.
Mhm.
But like at the very beginning of this podcast, dude, we didn't talk about reptiles for like 30 minutes almost.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you know, I think that I don't think that you have to talk about just that one thing or like that thing can be your personality. And then sometimes,
Yeah, well, and that's the thing, man, is like, you know, you and I, we've talked privately, we have differing opinions on things, and that's okay. And that, you know, it's like it's so important to still talk to people that you disagree with, in my opinion. And you know, and you and I have different opinions on things, probably because I'm in like the farthest right state you could find in all of America. And, you know, you're in the most liberal social country in, you know, in the Americas, you know, so it's like we just have different life experiences and we view things differently because of those experiences. But it doesn't mean that we can't be friends and we can't talk about things and all that. And it's nonsense when immediately, oh, well, if they don't agree with me on X, Y, and Z, then I will never talk to this person again. You know, it's wild. It's a wild concept.
Well, and I've seen it so many times too, where like you can have a conversation with somebody, everything is great, and then all of a sudden they become very cold to you because they're like they read on Reddit, for example. And this has
Yeah, they
happened to me.
found something out.
Well, look at the Reddit thread. Like, actually read the thread. It's, oh man, I loved him until I saw this thread and realized he was this, which isn't even true. It's just something somebody made up. And like some of the oh, he called his wife a bitch, dude. You've never met my wife, but you'll meet her for 5 minutes and be like, I promise you, Adam never did that because he's still breathing. Like it's not a real thing. Like people just make things up, and it's not even from like a nugget of truth. It's just made up because they want to hate you and they don't have a reason to. And that's a big
Yeah.
thing. We've seen that forever and ever. It's just dogpiling, especially if it's like another creator who hates this creator. Now all their following will hate that person too. And I think that that's the danger is if you start creating like this hate towards this person and it builds and builds and builds, well, then you're attacking that person's livelihood. And someone said in the comments, well, dude, you said that if I stop watching your channel, that I'm hurting your family. I never said that. I said that if you're making up things about me so that other people stop watching my channel, then you are hurting my family because this is how I produce for my family. So if you're
Yeah.
making things up to try to like, it's the same thing as making, I don't know, a pool cleaning company. And then you say, oh, this pool cleaning company destroyed my pool and killed my dog. And none of it's true. And that's on the internet for someone to see, they're going to get less business. It's the same
Yeah.
thing with this, just because it's not a product that you're buying. It's the exact same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So how do you think that makes you stronger as an individual, though, that it makes you a better person, that it makes you more aware of how you may be perceived by the people that are consuming your content?
No, it's all baloney because I go to a show and it's not like that at all. Like
That's
it's
true,
only
yeah.
on the internet. Like there's two worlds, the internet and real life. And I've had people, like I said in the video, like literally walk the other way, dude, next time I see you, I'll punch you in the mouth. And like I see them at an
Whoa.
expo. Yeah, dude, it was some dude in a Facebook group, a Canadian dude. And this like 2019, I had like 1,000 subscribers and you're a cancer to society, I'll punch you in the mouth. And then I saw him at an expo and he gives me like that look away, like I wasn't looking at you type thing. Like that's just how people are. And that is cowardly to threaten anyone on the internet is cowardly. But in general, like, oh, I don't like you, whatever. Like I've had people come up to me in St. Louis. This guy came up to me and he shakes my hand. He's like, just so you know, I really don't like your content, but you seem like a really nice guy. I've seen you talking to all these people and you've been nothing but a stand-up guy, especially to the kids. So I respect that. That is what real life is. Even though this guy doesn't like me, he at least can respect the way that I treat people. And by the way, if you're an influencer and you don't treat the people who watch your videos and let you do what you do for a living with the utmost respect, those people are the reason you get to do what you do. So I don't understand even famous, like real famous people who are rude to their fans. Like that is the most bonehead move of all time.
Yeah.
Like, especially if you come off as a nice guy on the internet. Like, if you're a villain and that's your character, that's different. But I mean, be not, and all of us are, by the way. I don't know any reptile influencers, but I've seen other people on the internet who are just not nice to people in real life. And I'm like, not
You're
good, dude.
shooting yourself in the foot. Yeah, it's like, what are you doing? You know,
Yeah.
because that's going to end up on Reddit for sure. And if it's a legitimate thing, then yeah, I guess you don't deserve your fans then. You know,
Well,
if that's the
exactly.
case.
And like,
Yeah,
I do, well, to be fair too, I don't know what it's like to be really famous, but you go to an expo and like I am talking to people back to back all day long. And it is kind of exhausting by the end of the day because your social battery is gone. But I'm lucky I get to do this. I'm not made to do this. And every time I wake up and I have like, oh, I got to do this ad today and send it, like I get to, that's a privilege for me to do. Like I used to sit at a desk doing something I didn't want to do, felt like I was rotting. I could be doing that again. But instead, I get to get put on a plane, put up in a hotel and meet all these, like that is a privilege. That is something that if you told me in 2019 I would get to do for a living, I would call you a liar. So I'm the
yeah,
luckiest person ever. And if anyone watching this ever goes to a reptile expo, if it's me or Snake Discovery, whoever else, like whoever your favorite channel is, walk up to them and say hi. Like the biggest, the most favorite part of my day when I go to an expo is someone saying to me, "Hey, I like your content. You made this video. It convinced me to get a snake." Like that is the biggest compliment anyone could ever give me.
hell yeah, yeah, man, that's so cool. One day we'll meet up somewhere.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm hoping to. I might be in Florida this winter. We'll see. I need to get away from the cold, dude. It was a long cold winter. So, and as I get
Yeah,
older, it gets weird. And that's the thing too is like I can't. I got kids here, so it's hard to like leave like everybody else in Canada who gets the opportunity. But I can't wait to be 65 and like retire in Costa Rica or something. It's gonna be great.
I wouldn't say that, man. I would enjoy exactly your age right now.
No, I know. And that's the thing too is like I was at a golf course recently, and this guy's like, "I'm 7 years old, man. One day you're gonna be," and I'm like, if I'm lucky, I'll get to be 70 one time. So yeah, I see it
Yeah.
like that too.
Yeah, man, for sure. My kids, it's like anytime my kids are like, I wish I was X age, I'm like, do not wish that. Enjoy
Mm.
this right now, dude. You're getting a free ride.
Yeah.
Mommy and daddy take care of you. It's as good as it's ever gonna get right now.
My 6-year-old said to me, he's like, he was doing the whole thing, like, I can't wait to be an adult. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this. And I'm like, "Do you want me to treat you like an adult?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Cool, rent's due right now." And then I
Yeah.
explained to him like what rent was, and he's like, "Oh." I'm like, "How are you gonna make money?" "Garage sale." "What are you gonna sell?" "The stuff in the garage." "But you don't own that stuff." Like it's so funny. Like, and I remember because we were both that age too, and then you want to be like an adult, and being an adult is pretty awesome a lot of the time. But then I
Yeah.
see like these kids and like what a free ride it is as a kid. I'm like, dude, just enjoy it. And it's so hard because people said that to me, and I'm like, no, I want to be. So I totally get it. I understand
It's
why
the
you want to be an
nature
adult.
of our existence. Yeah,
Yeah,
we all do it. We all do it. But it is pretty dope right now. I feel like mid 30s, man.
yeah,
I feel like this is like my prime. Like physically, I'm in pain all the time, but I feel like I'm the strongest I've ever been. I feel like I'm the most happy with myself. Financially, everything's good. Everything just feels comfortable for the
mm,
first time in my life, you know, and like that is invaluable compared to being like 22-year-old me, you know, and suffering, you know, like
yeah.
it's a good thing to be, you know, to the point where you're all the hard work you put in is finally starting to pay off.
Yeah, and well, I think my physical problem is definitely behind me, but everything else, like, yeah, it's great, and especially as you get a little bit older and like the business is going well and stuff, then you get like maybe a little bit of you can hire someone and you have a little bit of extra free time, and now you get to like play with your kids more. Or, dude, I turned 35 and I took up golf like that week, and now it's like a problem. It's becoming a
Oh
problem.
no.
Dude, it's like, and I get it now. And it's when I was like 22 and I would see people on the golf course, I'm like, loser. Like, you just, what do you want to whack a ball with a crooked stick? You freaking And then now, it like, every reel I watch is golf.
Oh
My friend group
no.
is called Golf Gang now. I guess yeah, it's a,
Oh, I hate
yeah.
golf so much.
Dude, so did I. And then so my buddy is like, I'm having this golf tournament for my birthday. I'm like, okay. I borrowed my mother's clubs, by the way, because I'm like short. I know on Reddit I said I'm tall, but I'm not. So I borrowed my mother's golf clubs, and then I went out once, and I'm like, okay, cool. And then I went for his birthday, and the whole thing is like, you just go out there to like get drunk and have fun with your friends. And then I went a
Sure.
third time, and then there was no like drinking involved, and it was just like, let's just play the game. And then I'm like, oh, it was like monitors for me, right? I never understood monitors, like these big bitey animals that are like too smart and like you can't. And then I held a monitor, and I'm like, oh, it was like that. It was like an epiphany.
Mm.
So now I'm addicted. I'm an addict.
Yeah, I used to go to the driving range when I was young, and I really enjoyed that time with my uncle. And my family would have like they'd call it the Niermeyer Open, and it was like an annual, everybody gets together and drinks and, wax balls around.
Yeah,
And then like as time went on, being in Florida, I hate seeing golf courses because they're just so
that's fair.
unnatural, and it's like, and we're losing ground here, with our natural spaces. Like this place does not look like it did in 2019. It is just getting paved over and we're losing everything. And so, yeah, like I see a golf course and I'm like, I hate it, but they're everywhere here.
Well, and so Carlin, I think it was his 92 special, did a whole bit on golf courses and how it's like this privileged, stupid sport.
Oh, I need to see that.
Dude, and it's great, and he's right, and it's bad for the environment, and like his thing was, why don't we take all these stupid golf courses and then make them like not homeless encampments, but like homeless, like build places for homeless people, and like,
Yeah.
and he's right. There's so many better uses, and they're so big, and there's pesticides everywhere. But I am a hyper competitive person, and there is this game that looks stupid, but is, by the way, so unbelievable. You will not believe how bad you are at this game. Like
Oh, yeah.
and it's so testing to your patience, and also it's just an excuse to be out with your friend here, especially like where you can only be outside for like 4 or 5 months a year. So you get to be outside with your friends for 4 hours. Time disappears. All you can think about is this one thing. Like
Yep.
I understand now, and I'm hyper competitive with myself, and that's what this game is you have to get better against yourself. So you're not competing against the other guys, you're competing against yourself from last time. And
Yeah.
that's the addiction. Like everything in my entire life, I have to get better. YouTube, I have to get more views on this video than the last video, or not even views as much as this scene was okay, but what if I put the camera like this? What if I said it like this? I flubbed on a word here. What about this? Comedy, same thing. Used to be a competitive bodybuilder, same thing. Well, your lats look terrible here and they're watery here. So next time, what you have to do with the carbs is this. And golf is just that, but you get to do it again tomorrow. You don't have to wait till next year. You don't have to wait till next
Mm.
week. So that's what it is. It's just this hyper competitiveness. However, anyone who's like it's snobby and stupid, I also agree. It is that too.
At least you own that.
I mean, and like I hated it until like last month, dude. And then now all of a sudden, like, so I said to my buddy, my best friend lives in Edmonton, Alberta, and he goes golfing because he's like an executive guy. And so I'm like, yo, I took up golf. He's like, cool. All right, I'm gonna be there in 3 weeks. So then he's coming like next week so we can golf together. So it's like this whole thing where it is like a social thing. And like to be honest with you, I've been living a COVID lifestyle for 5 or 6 years where I do
Yeah.
nothing but stay in my house. My office is 6 steps away from my bedroom, and I don't leave my house for sometimes weeks at a time. So I think if nothing else,
Crazy. Wow.
yeah, like any sort of hobby, which I haven't had in 5 years, would be great. And then so now I get to like some of my friends that I've been hanging out with the last month, I hadn't seen for like 3 years because I don't really do stand-up comedy as much anymore. So I won't see them. So it's kind of
Mm.
nice. So I didn't mean to make this like a golf tangent, and I'm sure my wife is like, if she's listening to this, is like, yeah, he's going golfing again tomorrow. But anyway, which is rightfully
It's
so.
okay.
It's rightfully so.
Dude, I recently got back into motorcycles, and it's important to have hobbies and things that for me what really resonated with me, what you said about that's the only thing you're focused on.
Yep.
That is riding for me. If I get on two wheels, everything else drops off. There's no more noise, there's no more mental chatter. I'm focused on not dying and and enjoying myself, and that is, and like incorporating that into like my commute for work. I'm looking forward to leaving to go to work. Like, when is that ever a thing where you're like,
Yep.
yes, I get to go to work,
Well, I think, and
So,
I don't
yeah.
think it matters what it is. If it's bikes or golf, or it wouldn't matter if I said this in the group chat. It wouldn't matter if it's badminton, dude. Like it doesn't matter. Lawn bowling, whatever it is. If you get a chance where you're not thinking about the call you have in 3 hours or what happened earlier today or what, like if you can just focus on one thing and then time disappears for like a couple of hours, or even if it's like 20 minutes on your way to work, There's very few things in life like that. And then also if you get the camaraderie of it, like I don't know what it's like for you. I know a lot of like the motorcycle guys here, they have friends who are also on motorcycles and they
Sure.
ride together and they meet up in parking lots and they drink coffee and talk about their bikes and or Jeeps, right? I call them Jeeple, people who drive
Oh
Jeeps and that's
yeah.
all they talk about. But
There's Jeep clubs in my city. Actual
same
Jeep
here.
clubs. They have their
Yeah.
own bumper stickers. It's
Yep.
so
And to
silly.
me, it's like, to me, that's like stupid. But also, I used to be in a Mopar club because I drove a Charger. So it's the same
Mm,
thing. It's the exact same
yeah.
thing. And to me, what looks stupid might be, which golf is the greatest example. Like it looks stupid to me 6 weeks ago. And then now I have a tea time on Monday. I can't wait to go. Like I am like chomping at the bit to go. And I think that's the same
Now,
thing with bikes or badminton or whatever. Like it doesn't matter what it is. It's just that thing that you can concentrate on.
what about you're a bodybuilder
Used to
formerly?
be.
I'm sure you still lift. Right? You still lift?
Occasionally, my shoulder like doesn't like when I lift is the problem.
Okay, so my question for you is with golf is it's such an imbalanced movement, where it's this twisting, wrenching, and like, dude, the last time I went to a driving range, I was trying to murder the ball, which I know you're not supposed to do. I know
Yep.
that you're not supposed to do that. And the next day, like my SI joint, and I couldn't turn my head. My neck was jacked up, and I'm like, and my father-in-law
Yep.
is like, calm down, do like 10% of what you're doing.
Yep.
And I was just getting more and more angry at this stupid little white ball.
Well, and you're 36 and you feel like that. Meanwhile, like two greens over, there's a guy who's 80 who's going to come back tomorrow and be fine.
I know. Yeah, because he's
Well,
not trying to murder the ball.
well, and it's unnatural, man. And it's like one of those things where I understand. So when you see like hockey playoffs, hockey's a big thing here. When the whole thing is like, all right, you're going to be playing hockey or golfing in May, right? If you're going to make the playoffs or not. And Michael Jordan, look at any like hyper competitive athlete, they all play golf, every one of them.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things where it's hyper competitive, and it's so. But the point is like, yes, it's a very weird movement. And the first couple times, like you go to a driving range or whatever, my shoulder was aching and my back and my hips and the whole thing. But it's the same thing when you go to the gym for the first time, you feel like you're going to die the next day. And then
Yeah.
6 months down the line, it's just like, it's normal, right? It's the same thing. I went curling once and I was like 16. Okay. So I was like rubber still, right? Like my body's barely formed. And I went curling. I have never been that sore after a sport. And it's a nothing sport.
Can you explain curling to me? Because I'm American.
Oh, sure. So curling is it's an ice surface, but it's pebbled ice. So the ice has pebbles in it to like kind of slow down the rock. And I think it's called a rock, a stone, maybe a stone. So you basically kind of shoot off the back. Keep in mind, I've only tried this once and I've watched it on TV. You kind of shoot off like a block with your body with the stone in your hand, and then you like let the stone go, and then you kind of curl the stone. That's why it's called curling, like whichever direction. And you're basically hitting a bullseye in the middle. And I think it's the closest one to the bullseye wins. So then you can knock other stones out of the way. And then there's two people, I think they're called sweepers, that kind of in front of the stone, and they're kind of like brushing the surface of the ice to get rid of that pebbling so that it can go faster or it can spin a certain way. So that's what curling is. So I tried it. And when you're like shooting off, your legs are in a very awkward, unnatural position. And you're balancing in a way that your body's never balanced before. So the next day felt like I did leg day, even though I was literally just pushing myself off on a slippery surface and just trying to keep myself from falling.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
isn't
like,
that crazy when you just do something that you're just it's so alien to you that it just destroys you?
yeah, you wouldn't think so, right? Especially if you're like a strong, healthy person, you think that you'd be all right. But even so, like I remember going back to the gym for the first time after like 6 months off. It felt like a bus hit me. And I
Oh
went like
yeah.
50%. I can't imagine, like, and I've done that before too, where you go and you're like, okay, I know what to do. And then you try to put the same weight on and you're like, it's like a rock. It doesn't budge. So the human body is really interesting, especially if you have been into any sort of sport, you realize that more than like a regular person, probably. Like your body just doesn't work the same after it's lost the conditioning, but you can get it back generally a lot quicker than a newbie would.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just in your room right there, right? Building enclosures. Does that leave your body feeling broken? Like if you're building enclosures all day long? Because I know like
Yeah.
whenever I'm constructing something, It doesn't, you're not lifting anything heavy really. It's piece by piece that it goes up, but then like the next day you're like, oh my God, I'm so sore.
Well, especially, and what I've noticed is, especially when you're doing like the stuff on the ground, so you're bending in, so you're on your knees and you're bending in, so you're using this whole posterior chain that if you're a desk jockey like me, you don't use. So
Yeah.
I literally feel like I did deadlifts the day before, like after I do that. So yeah, you do get very sore, and it's crazy too. Like my 63-year-old father will come help me, and he'll be fine. But he stands up for a living and works like with his body, so he's
Yeah. Yeah.
fine, even though he's 20 something years older than I am. And then there I am, and I feel like crippled, sitting there. So yeah, it's all on how you use it. And I think the whole thing of like either you use it or you lose it. I really do think that that's true, and it doesn't mean just in your 40s or 50s or 60s. That starts in your 30s, I think.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, for me, I work out for mental health and, but yeah, it's so important that if you stop, a body in motion stays in motion, right? That's
Yeah.
I think that there's a lot of wisdom there for sure.
Well,
But yeah,
well, I listen to like a lot of like bro podcasts, and it's usually like scientists like Huberman or whatever.
sure,
And
sure.
one of the biggest predictors of lifespan is how much muscle you carry into your 50s, 60s, and 70s. So if,
Mm,
and it just makes sense. Like if you were to trip, right? Like the number one cause of premature death is falling. So if you fall and you break your hip, well, all of a sudden now you're immobile for a long time. But if you didn't have a lot of muscle to begin with, now you might never get out of the chair. And I've seen that happen with people before. But when you fall, well, what is it that keeps you from falling? It's how fast you can put your leg out in front of you. So if you're uncoordinated and you're not used to being on your feet and you have no muscle mass, you're not going to be able to break your fall. And that's why older people, especially who live a sedentary lifestyle or maybe who are too heavy to like really take the impact, that's why they fall more than like my 8 or 19, 20 month old, however old he is now. If he like kind of fall, he'll be able to catch himself. My kids, I see them all the time trip and they can catch themselves. Or if they fall, they're okay and they don't break anything. Your body
yeah.
just becomes brittle if you don't use it. And that's why you see like these guys like Rogan. I know people don't like him, but if I could look like that at 60, I would pay millions of dollars. I would pay every
Yeah.
every dime in my bank account. Or RFK, same thing. Another guy that a lot of people don't like. Who cares? That dude in his 70s looks better than 99.9% of people in their
Got to
70s.
get on that TRT, son.
And I definitely will. I don't care what anybody says about it. As soon as your natural testosterone goes down, there is no reason not to feel like you're 25 again. Like go to a doctor and get it done. Like I definitely will. As soon as my T level goes down, dude, I'll be pumping needles in my butt. I don't care. I do not want to feel
Yeah.
sick.
I did it for a little while and I prescription, doctor, everything like totally above board. And I was not happy with the outcome. It like changed who I was as a human.
Really?
But yeah, I could have been on too high of a dose though.
That
That
would be
could have
my
been it.
guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Well,
changed the way my brain worked for sure.
and so I think that's good if you're not at a healthy level already. And like coming from the
Yeah.
bodybuilding world, like I competed natural, so I never did steroids, but a lot of my buddies did. Like I played doctor for a lot of guys putting needles in people, and some of those guys like,
This
dude,
episode's brought to you by Chewy.
dude, yeah, in Canada it's legal, but back in the day, like, and you would see like a normal person, and then all of a sudden, even if it wasn't like in a bad way, they would just become hyper confident, right? Like hyper confident or
Yeah.
super strong. I remember going like walking in the woods with a buddy of mine who was on, and he would just like start picking up law, like just for the sake of it, like he just in so much energy. Someone who's tired all of a sudden has
Yeah.
all the energy of a younger man. And by the way, disclaimer, do this with a doctor. Like, don't just go out and go buy like horse medicine and like from
Yeah.
Mexico. Because that's what you used to see a lot is it'd be like in Spanish, it'd be like veterinary
Yep.
grade.
Yep.
Don't do that. I'm telling you, don't do that. Don't do drugs in general, I think is a good idea. I was never a drug guy. But yeah, I think that if your doctor says it, like, I don't think there's shame in it. So, a lot of people they feel shameful about it. Like they're less of a man. It's like, no, as you get older,
Yeah.
that's just what happens. Sorry. Like, it's just how it goes.
Yeah. And I honestly, you want to have a few different blood tests done too, because it's wild. I did this, I forget, it was like 10,000 kettlebell swings in a month challenge with my cousin. And it was insane the amount of effort we put into this. And I remember I had my blood work done and my testosterone was 948 nanograms per deciliter. Literally, like they flagged me as being off the charts. And I showed a friend of mine whose wife worked at a men's clinic, they call it here. And she's like, what? He's on something. He's lying. And I'm like, I'm on nothing at all, And then 3 months later, I was like sleep deprived and stressed out and all this stuff. And it was like 300 or 290 nanograms per deciliter. Right. So it all depends on like, are you sleeping? Are you eating right? Are you managing stress? Like all that stuff comes into play.
Well, yeah, if you yeah. Well, the big thing too is like sleep loss, sleep deprivation, stress, and alcohol. Those things will kill.
Oh yeah.
Like it'll make you a 12-year-old boy again. Whereas if you're sleeping properly and you're managing stress and you're doing kettlebell swings or squats or whatever else, like it's as if you're taking like a testosterone booster. And then there's just
Yeah.
certain people that have naturally high testosterone. Like there's guys who I personally know who I do believe, and they are professional. They're not bodybuilders, but like physique models or whatever. And like
Yeah.
I could be loaded to the gills on steroids, and I would never look like that. It's just some
Yeah.
people are gifted like that, and some people aren't. And I think that's with a lot of things in life. Height is like the biggest thing, right? Do you think that Wemby would be a professional basketball player if he wasn't 7'4", 7'6", or whatever? Do you
Yeah.
really
Of
think
course not.
he'd be a
Yeah.
superstar if he was my height? No. He just got lucky. He won the genetic lottery. And there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that because he actually did something with the skill. It's like kids who grow up rich, but then they take the money that's available to them and they create a business rather than just pissing it away. Like you can't be mad at that guy. He just got lucky. He got lucky, but he did something with it. So if
Yeah.
the harder that you work, the luckier you're going to get also. And if you're handed a good set of cards, like what are you supposed to do? Not play them? You're supposed to give them away and start with everybody else? I think that's stupid. I think just if you're lucky, then do something with it. Don't piss it away.
Yeah, I think well, and even like your channel, right? Like you've put immense amount of hard work into it and years, right? I mean, what year did you actually start the channel?
January 14th, 2019.
That's not even that long, but it's been
Mm.
years. It's been what, coming up on 7 years, 7 years of putting in just every single week, just putting out content and dumping yourself into it.
Yeah, and there's a certain thing where people say, "Well, you got lucky." Like, kind of, because COVID happened, but like if I started the channel during COVID, I would be behind. I started the channel not knowing COVID was going to happen, and then because my channel was already at 15,000 subscribers or whatever, I was already ahead of everybody who started after. And then people could see me, so I was in everyone's algorithm because I'd already been making content. So I started early, and then I got a break. But the break wouldn't have meant anything to me if I wasn't already putting out content every single week and trying really hard. So I think
Mm,
that's the big thing. So maybe I did get lucky. I'm not going to, say that I didn't, but I wouldn't have got lucky if I wasn't already working hard.
yeah. How has your room evolved and changed over the years? I watched your video on like the price breakdown of your room and how much it all costs and everything, and it makes it almost seem like unattainable, right? But it is, if you're in this hobby and you're keeping numerous animals and you have large naturalistic enclosures, you're probably doing pretty well in life, and you're probably in the top 1%. That's my opinion, is
Mhm.
that there are certain aspects of this hobby that, yeah, you need to be doing pretty well financially, or you could get yourself into some serious debt issues and get yourself in trouble. I remember watching your older videos where you were like, I go to Home Depot and I grab this bulb and I get this thing, and like you're setting
Yep.
up like enclosures on the cheap, and you can still do that. But like your room has changed so much since like when I first started watching your channel. It has changed radically, and obviously you're kind of keeping different things and everything. But are you happy with where it is now? Do you see it going through more iterations and changing?
Yeah. So, but I think that the formula that I have now, I like. There's certain small things that I'd like to tweak. Like there's certain plants that I can't, for the life of me, get to live in the enclosures, and I got to figure out how to keep the enclosures greener. Or like even like the one over my shoulder here kind of looks a little not as green as it used to. So there's small things like that, but the structures that I make, the way that the room looks when you walk into it, I really like the aesthetic, and I think that it's really good for the animal too. So, which are the two important things? because it might sound selfish, but it is true. We do this for us. Like none of us got into this hobby to conserve the animal that we keep. We got
Yeah.
into it because we like to watch and like to look at and like to handle the animals. But I think it's really important that if you do that, you owe it to the animal to give them the best life they could possibly have. So I think that I'm nailing it on both fronts, and I'm happy with that. So maybe I'll make bigger enclosures and more elaborate, and maybe I'll try to make something like a Brad's Bioactive Builds does. In my opinion, he's the best of all of them, right? Like Serpa is,
Yeah.
is there too, and Ants Canada, but like in our niche, our reptile niche, like a true reptile guy, Brad is the best. And I would love to do something that more akin to that, where it takes a little bit more planning. And I'm taking like my biggest enclosure, my piece de resistance, like the big one. I'm taking it all apart because I'm putting monitors in there, and I want to make like a water feature and a rain system, and it's going to be a
Wow.
lot of work, but I'm taking like a lot of inspiration from like Tanner's, like the first guy that I started watching, and Mikey over in the Philippines, and then Brad is kind of like the guy that I'm really watching. And I just saw Malik, Goats Wildlife. He made like basically a miniature version of what Brad did, and it was super cool. And that's the cool thing about this hobby too, is no one's like copycat. It's like we all know where you got the inspiration, but it's not an easy thing to do, and you did it, and it's for the animal, so who cares? And I'm kind of going to do the same sort of idea. So I think that's we get to take inspiration from each other. And my to answer your question, the room will change a little bit, but the overall theme of it, I'm just going to do this in the other room too.
Yeah. Yeah, man, it looks great. It used to be kind of, it gave more of like a piecemeal vibe, where it was like, yeah, I got this kind of enclosure and this and that,
Yeah,
and it's been interesting watching it evolve and change as time goes on. It's
it
really
looks like a
cool.
pet store before, where now it looks like a zoo. That's what I like to say. Like to me, like you walk in, it kind of feels like a miniature zoo. Like don't get me wrong, like it's not like the Toronto Zoo, but before it looked kind of like a pet store, and like I kind of like the look of it because everyone likes to walk into a pet store. Where like on this side of the room, it was all glass enclosures. Where now it's all these enclosures. They're all black. They're all the same height. They all look the same. It's all uniform. It's all in a misting system. Everything's automated. So that was what I was going for. It's kind of like more like a true facility that's better for the animals and an aesthetic to walk into, rather than I have a crop skink over here, and then this enclosure is a different size and has dart frogs, and that was cool for a while. And I still think that's really cool when I see stuff like that. But I didn't want to do that anymore.
And you did it all for the low cost of, what was it, $50,000, somewhere around there?
$67,000.
$67,000.
Now, keep in mind that was the purchase price of everything, and I like that enclosure there. That's over $10,000 of the stuff I got for free. So
Yeah.
it's a lot of it was sponsorship stuff, or affiliate or whatever. So like I would love to tally up how much money I've actually spent, but then also I didn't include the weekly cost of feeding the animals and the water and the like. So I didn't include all that stuff, which I pay for, but 67,000. The whole point of the video was, don't just look at my room and be like, I think I can do that. Or you can do it, but don't be like, I just want to do that today. Like you can't. It's going to take you
Yeah.
10 years to do what I did, if you're lucky. And part of the only reason that I can do this is because my channel took off, and then I got great sponsors like Chewy and all these other people who will send me stuff, and Arcadia will send me these lights, and Custom Reptile Habitats will send me that enclosure. And I got really lucky. Like I'm in a position where most people aren't, and I do realize how fortunate I am.
Yeah, for sure, man. Getting hooked up, because the podcast is brought to you by Exoterra as well, and they've hooked me up with lights and tubes, and yeah, it's incredibly helpful, because some of that, the lighting is like some of the most expensive stuff.
Yep.
Soul Reptile, he's doing these UVA-1 lights, man, and they're incredible. And I mean, like he designed them, and they're so bright. It's like it would make the plants in your enclosures grow like weeds, dude, because it's that white light. It's the color spectrum that they see. It makes it so it's visible light. And yeah, he sent me one of those, dude, and it was like the clouds parted, and like
Yeah.
actual sun came out. It's
Well,
bananas.
I can't wait to see how it changes, honestly. Like I know your question is like, how's it going to change? I can't wait to find out, because I'm sure that there's going to be more products coming out like that. And then now we're producing different products and more products more free. Like it's scaling so much faster than it used to. Forever and ever, it was the same product. Here's what you get: you get Zoom or Xterra, you pick, and then all of a sudden now there's all these new guys to the party, and there's guys like Chewy who are bringing them to market where people might not have known that they existed, and then they find out about them through guys like me or you or whoever, and then they can bring them to the masses, people who maybe aren't deeply entrenched in the hobby, and bring it to like the mainstream, I guess. So I think that the hobby is going to really get bigger and better in a much faster way than we've ever seen before.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's wild. It's like we're on the frontier of it right now because there's so many gifted, talented, smart people out there that are into reptiles at the same time. So they're inventing and creating products for them and then either selling them to the big companies or selling them themselves.
Well, it's exactly it. And then also we've got just this big web of people who are talking to each other through the internet where that wasn't really a thing before. Even like the internet's been around for a long time, I realize, but everybody has an Instagram now and everybody has, like all these social media platforms, and we're all talking to each other. And there's so many things, or even smaller podcasts, right? Monitor Brains, no offense, is probably my favorite podcast. Like
I know. I heard you say that the other day and I'm like, son of a bitch, that was me. A year ago, that was me.
Well, so like your podcast is probably the one that I've listened to more of than any other podcast. You, MJ, but Monitor Brains, it's just they're hyper focused on the one thing that I really love. So that's
yeah.
Even if they had
I get it.
terrible production quality, I would still listen. And I just think it's hilarious that they do like the AI thing at the very beginning now. So like killing it, Nick. But it's like the amount of things I've learned from that podcast that isn't available on the internet, especially because Varanus, in my opinion, it's such a tight-knit community and it's small and there's so little information on the internet in comparison to everything else. So a podcast like that, where it's Uncle Mike and Nick, who people really like and trust, and then they bring on these other people, and then if they didn't have a voice already, they give them a voice, then all of a sudden all this information that wasn't available in the world now is. So to me, I think that podcasts like that are really important, and yours is especially important too because you bring on everybody. This podcast is going to be a brutal listen to your normal listeners, by the way, who are like listening to Dr. Tillis about, like smart people stuff. And then there's this idiot talking like whatever, mumbo. Oh, he likes to golf. Oh, great, idiot. So like, this is going to be a horrible listen for them. But in general, you bring on people who are very smart, where I'll listen to your podcast and I'll learn things that I'd never even thought to even research before. So I think that that's a huge thing too, is how many podcasts are out there is very few in comparison, but I think all the good ones stuck around. Animals at Home, by the way, I didn't mention, but that's another great one. If you want to learn about stuff, like it seems like all of you guys just know who to bring on, which is great.
Well, I mean, it's so much. You meet somebody and talk to somebody, and they recommend somebody, and then it kind of just goes through that, and you end up organically getting somebody on that really knows a ton about X, Y, or Z, and you can then share that information. And I'm constantly learning. Like you're never gonna stop learning with this hobby, and even my friend Sean, told me something that I never would have thought of is to pull water bowls when you pair snakes, because because they can, if you have pythons, you could, put them together and they could both drink out of the same water bowl. And if one is positive for something and asymptomatic and you'd have no idea, now that can spread to the other animals. So when he pairs his animals, water bowl comes out, and you remove that variable, right? So you're just a little bit safer, right? Like Kevlar is built in layers, right? So you do these layers and eventually you minimize as many risks as possible. But it's little things like that you hear and you're like, you know what, that makes sense, and that's a really easy thing to do. It's something that you can incorporate.
Never thought of that, but that makes a lot of sense. Absolutely. And that's
especially with pythons.
Right. Well, so I learned that I get to talk to you, but how many people are listening to this episode if they've made it this far after I've just rambled for that long? And they're going to hear that, and then now they're going to change the way that, and it's so easy. It's not like you're not telling them you have to set up an enclosure this way and source your manzanita branches. It's literally just take the water bowl out and put it aside, and then put it back in when you're done. So it's something that anybody can do, and that could change a lot of people's collections.
Yeah. Dude, you have banded iguanas, man, and it makes me angry. That's not fair.
It makes everybody angry, and it kind of makes me laugh, to be honest.
I mean, that's mean, you know? I'm going to talk about you on Reddit now.
Well, like in Canada, in terms like in general, but especially in reptiles, we don't really get a lot of really cool stuff, right? You guys have all the shipping methods, and you guys have like the cyclura and the tight knit community and expos all over the place all the time. Here, it's like a very tiny, very minuscule. We are 20 years behind where you guys are, but we have San Francisco garter snakes and we have banded iguanas.
Mm,
Yeah. So we kind of have
yeah.
like, our two little wins there. And honestly, they are the coolest things ever. I say that all the time, but they are the coolest of the reptiles.
It is. It seems, you say that and what a niche community it is in Canada, but I feel like there's a lot of Canadian reptile content out there.
Well,
It's weird.
That's the same with everything though. Like name a comedian. You have to name five before you don't get a Canadian. Like our biggest export in Canada is talent. So I think that,
Mm,
I don't know why that is, but in the reptiles, if just to keep it that small, there is a lot of really great Canadian content out there. And even if we
yeah.
leave, like Ants Canada, like he won a Webby Award. Like he is one of the biggest of all the animal uh, content creators, even though he's not like a reptile guy. But we've got a lot of them. We got a lot of really great creators, and it's kind of cool to see such a small community. And everybody who tries social media, it seems like a lot of them rise to the top.
Yeah. William Shatner came from Canada.
He sure did. He sure did. Almost 100 years ago, seems
Yeah.
like.
What a
Yeah,
national treasure he is.
we're still very sorry about Justin Bieber, but we're not taking him back.
Ugh.
Yeah, sorry. I mean, if we're taking people back, we'll start with like Jim Carrey and Russell Peters. But you guys can keep the Biebs and Drake. You
Yeah.
guys can have him too, by the way.
Oh man, dude. Yeah. Well, you can't have Ryan Reynolds. He's here to stay.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's too bad because he's like one of the good ones.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think people hate him now too for some reason. I don't know why though. I'd have to look it up.
Huh. I didn't know that you could hate that guy. He seems like such like a likable guy.
Yeah, maybe it was his wife. I don't know. Something happened there. I don't know. I'm not up on it, but
I don't know anything about celebrities of any way, shape, or form, dude. I don't keep
yeah. Well,
up with any of that.
that's because you are one. That's the problem.
That's such a loose word to use there. Yeah, I don't know about that. It's funny. I was golfing with somebody the other day, and my buddy, like, so anybody who's not a YouTuber, they see that you have like 10,000 subscribers or whatever, they think that you're famous. And like the guy's like, "What do you do for a living?" My buddy, "Oh, he's YouTube famous." I'm like, "Don't do that. I don't do that. I'm not YouTube famous. Do you know who I am, sir? No. Well, I guess I'm not famous then. But then it turns
Yeah,
out that his
yeah,
daughter did know who I was. So because she's a reptile person. That's what I said. I'm like, reptile people, sure. I walk into a reptile venue, and everybody knows who I am, which is great. But as soon as I leave, like the parking attendant doesn't know who I am, right? The security
yeah.
doesn't. And in my opinion, that I am like the luck. I can't imagine being at a reptile expo my whole life, like a Tom Cruise or, I don't know, name other famous person. Like imagine
Yeah,
being John Travolta. You literally can't go to the park with your kids. Johnny Depp was
yeah.
just talking about that, right? You literally can't even go to the park with your kids. So I wouldn't want to be that. But going to a reptile expo, it sure does feel pretty darn cool when you walk in and you have like a mob of people like you're Elvis in 1955.
That's so cool.
It
Dude, I
is
had one
cool.
person that I talked to at Daytona last year, and he was like, "Wait a minute, don't you have a?" And he's like, "I listen on Spotify." He's like, I recognized your voice right away, and I was like, "Oh, that's kind of crazy."
That's awesome. That's
Yeah,
and the first time is always like you're kind of taken aback by it.
yeah, it was kind of weird because I'm like sitting there eating with my kid, and I was just like making. It was at like a communal table.
Mm.
And I just started making small talk, and instantly he was like, "Wait a minute," you know. So yeah, that was kind of fun. That was
Well,
cool.
people, I noticed they'll your voice first, not just you, but in general. Like, there's been a lot of
Sure.
times where I've been talking to somebody else, and then I'll like see someone like a dog who just heard a whistle, like look around, and then
Yeah.
kind of like, oh, you're that. I know your voice. And a lot of the times too, like because I am short, people, well, first of all, they'll come up to me and be like, no, hey, I watch it. dude, you're so much shorter than I thought. I get that a lot. But generally they'll look at you and they'll kind of like double take, is this the real person? Because they think they have an image of what you're going to be. Like they've watched you
Yeah.
on their TV for 4 years and they think they not only do they know you, but they think they know exactly what you're going to look like. And then they show up and you're a smaller dude than what they think. And I get that a lot. Like, are you? And I'll say like, I get that a lot, and they'll walk away. And I'll say to them like, hey, I'm just kidding. But like, I've had that before. Where people are like, nah, it can't be him, which is hilarious.
I won't name who it is, but walking around Daytona, I did see somebody that is, fairly prominent in the reptile hobby, and they were about a foot shorter than I thought they would be. And I was like, what? In my mind, I thought the guy was just like a tall guy, like a big guy. And I was like, huh.
Was it
Didn't
the
see
Animals
that.
With podcast? Was it Yoshi?
I'm not saying anything.
Oh, okay. All right. It's funny too, because like, I remember meeting Yoshi, Animals With podcast. Not saying that's who you were talking about, but it reminded me because he's a Florida guy. And he's like my height. He might even be shorter than me. And I remember looking at him like, what a short, oh, right. I'm the same height as that. It's because you think that you're gonna know what these people look like, and then they don't. And but yeah, it's very interesting how you feel. And that's the thing too, is like with podcasts, I've listened to thousands of hours of Joe Rogan's voice. I feel like I know him, but if I ever walked up to him on the street, I would feel like he would have dementia, like he forgets who I am, even though
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And that's what I think that being famous like that would be like. You're like the guy in the home with dementia. Everyone knows who you are and you don't know who anybody is.
Yeah.
Especially when for a living, you talk and you have a personality and you're presenting the personality. And I think that's the difference between like what we do. We present our personality on the internet, and like I am like, if you meet me in person, I'm the same guy. Like maybe I'll let our curse word here go, like here or there, but otherwise I'm the same guy as on the videos. Whereas if you're watching like CNN, pick a whatever, like a radio broadcaster, that person isn't who they are. Like they're not showing their personality. They're presenting objective. Like they're kind of like an actor more than anything else. And I think that's kind of like the interesting thing about meeting a podcaster or a YouTuber or social media person is you kind of already know who they are. Like you have a pretty accurate representation.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. It's exactly that. I mean, I am exactly who I am. Right. And like you said, language. Yeah, that's, probably going to be the biggest difference. But yeah, I think that's why it was so shocking for a while. Like, the Bill O'Reilly thing that we joked about before recording, we'll do it live. Like he was presenting himself as this guy, this, well-spoken, calm person. And then when something like that comes out, you're like, oh my God, he's just a ravenous human being.
Yeah, there is something to be said about that. You don't actually know, like you feel like you know people, but you don't actually know, especially in those days because like all of us are accessible. Like if you're a big fan of snake discovery, let's use the big one, right? If you're a fan of snake discovery, you can message them and they might message you back. Like if you message me, there's a good chance that I'll message you back. Whereas if you're like a Johnny Depp fan, not saying that we're that famous or anything like that, but if you like Johnny Depp or pick your favorite athlete, they're probably not, especially before Twitter or X or whatever. You can't get in contact with that guy. Like when I was a kid, Doug Gilmour was like the guy. He was the captain of the Toronto Maple Leafs, even though I'm not a Maple Leafs fan. Like that, he was on all the milk commercials. If I wanted to talk to him, I can't just go and talk to him. But now you might be able to talk to Austin Matthews or who I know I'm using hockey and you're from Florida, but I mean, I can't, whatever, whoever else, right? You might be able to actually speak to that person because social media has made everyone.
Tampa Bay Lightning is huge here, just so you know.
Okay. Well, now it is because they're good. Now it is. So the Panthers, dude, when I was a kid, if you wanted to go watch a Panthers game, it was $9. They would pay you to go, and then they won a couple Stanley Cups in a row, and now you can't afford to go anymore.
That's hilarious. That's funny. Now it's no longer accessible.
Yeah, well, and it's never been here, right? If you want to go to Toronto Maple Leafs. So I used to listen to Bill Burr's, but you know who Bill Burr is? He's like a giant comedian, right?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Okay, so I started listening to his podcast forever ago, and he would get free tickets to every stadium anywhere he went. He's like, the Toronto Maple Leafs is the only place you cannot go and get free tickets. You just can't. If you're Drake, maybe, but anybody else, you can't. That is the most. That is the hardest. That's the hardest team to get season tickets for in all four major sports, and they haven't won a championship since 1967.
Man.
Yeah.
Wow.
Canada's a big deal here, dude.
Yeah. Wait a minute. We were talking about banded iguanas.
Sorry, I don't know how this happens. This entire podcast is just me rambling about not reptiles.
It's a damn reptile podcast, Adam.
Sorry, my bad. My bad. Sorry.
Say sorry.
So sorry.
Mike, it's funny. Yesterday, I texted my parents and I was like, "Hey, if the kids want to watch YouTube, they can watch Wickens Wicked Reptiles." and they go, they're already watching him. They already have him on the TV.
That's so funny. And it's funny too, because like I don't know. I think that generation. I think we talked about this last time, but that generation of kids. I think how old are your kids? Did you say how old your kids are?
Yeah, they're 8 and 10.
Okay. So, well, they're a little bit older then. My kids are a little bit younger than yours. But I think that, like, if I put on me or Dave or even Ed and Emily, which, like, are great for kids, my kids don't want to watch it. They want to watch Mr. Hillbilly and Dr. Plants, who, in my opinion, is the best of all of us. Or, like, they want to watch that because it's super fast paced, super cuts. It sounds like a Japanese game show because there's, like, just explosions and, like, dings. And they want to watch that. I think that generation where your kids are at, are like maybe the last generation that have enough attention span to watch someone like me, where it's someone sitting in front of a camera and talking. So I think that's really cool, by the way. I think that your kids are really smart kids watching Wickens Wicked Reptiles.
It's wild, dude, because it's like if I put you on, they get mesmerized. And I'm like, man, that's nuts. But my oldest actually likes listening to the podcast as well. And I'm like, he'll be like, can I listen to your podcast? And I'm like, that is so wild. I don't know. Maybe I just have kids that are just have a better attention span. I don't know.
Well, maybe you're doing it right. Maybe that's all it is.
They don't have any devices, and sometimes they feel bad about that, but at the same, yeah, we got our oldest son a flip phone for emergencies, and he's like, he was like embarrassed about it. And I'm like, I'm sorry, man, but
do his friends have like iPhones and stuff?
Yes.
Oh, that's insane. Like,
dude, it's wild.
I would never preach or tell anybody how to parent, but in my opinion, giving a 10-year-old that is insane. That is crazy.
Yeah. It's too dangerous. Like actually dangerous. Like there's too much dangerous stuff out there. And I mean, even with the flip phone, he's still getting like spam text messages and things like that, and so that concerns me. But he's like, he's kind of embarrassed by it. And I'm like, dude, I'm sorry, man. One day I think you're probably going to thank me. Like I value boredom. I think being bored is a really good thing. I think it makes you creative. I think that it makes you think about stuff. If you're constantly being pacified by social media, I don't think it's the best thing for you.
I don't think that anyone with two brain cells to rub together would disagree with that. I think that you're killing your attention span. Your attention span is so. How are you supposed to work on anything hard, which takes time, if your brain isn't allowed to process that? These kids, I go to a restaurant and there's like both kids are on iPads while they're waiting for that. To me is you're killing your kid. Like that is so not good for your kid. Our kids, they can watch YouTube, but it has to be something educational or like something to do with animals or whatever, right? Hey, what did you learn at school today? And then we'll put something on about that, right? But we don't let them watch his brain rot all the time. And they don't have iPads and they don't have phones. So obviously
good
they're
for
younger,
you, man.
But they're not getting phones. Like, sure, if there's a time when I think that they need one I'll do the same thing that you did. Give them like a bare bones Motorola Razr a la 2008. And that's what you get. But I will never give my kid an iPhone when they're 10 years. That is insane to me.
Yeah, I'm thinking probably like 16 to 18 would probably like, I think that we're going to get more data as time goes on and we'll be able to make more informed decisions on when they should or should not have these devices. And I'm sure you've heard this, that the guy that he's like the CEO of Lunchables or something, right? And he doesn't feed his kids. He wouldn't let his kids eat Lunchables. And that the people that are running these social media platforms don't allow their kids on them and have an account. What does that tell you?
Well, and there's all these, like, again, on a podcast, I forget the guy's name, but he studies social media for a living. He's like, I understand how it works. Like intrinsically, I understand the mechanism and it still scares me. So It's designed that way. I don't think that there's like a group full of guys sitting at a table smoking cigars, like, oh, this is. I just think that the algorithm understands what people want, and that's what it does. Like, this is what people are going to scroll on next. This is what makes people scroll next. And then it just trained itself. I don't think that there's humans doing it. I think just we've trained an algorithm. The algorithm knows what to do. So I don't think it's nefarious. I just think that that's how it is. And we all get sucked into it too. Dude, the amount of times that I've been like, I'm just gonna, eat my lunch and scroll. And then I look at the clock and it's been 45 minutes. It's
Yeah.
embarrassing. And I'm embarrassed with myself to even like say that publicly, but it's true. It happens.
Oh, dude, sometimes it's like I have timers on my apps, and I'll be like, give me an extra hour.
Dude.
I need to see more motorcycle reels, and be like, oh, those are nice looking. That looks good, and you just keep scrolling. It's nuts.
Well, it's like this little tiny dopamine hits. And it's so even, this is how I knew that it got me. This is a couple years ago. And I'm sitting at my desk and I'm putting it on, like on shaky footage. There's something called Warp Stabilizer in Premiere Pro. And you put it on there and it helps like stabilize it. But it takes 7 to 10 seconds, I'd say, of processing time to do. I pick up my phone instantly. I don't wait.
Yeah.
I don't check an email. I pick up my phone and start scrolling. And then 5 minutes have gone by. So this process that takes 10 seconds, 5 minutes it takes me now. And that's how I knew it was a problem, because it wasn't a thought. I just instantly, my hand goes to it. Or if I get frustrated with something and something's not working, my hand looks for my phone. I'm not even
Yeah.
thinking about it. So if that's me and I'm a 35-year-old adult who had an entire childhood without this, imagine raising a kid from scratch like that. They're cooked.
Dude, it's terrifying. Like when I go to edit this later, if I don't put my phone out of the room, it will take me 4 times longer than it should. Even the other day, I went to go message you and I open Instagram and all of a sudden I'm swiping for like 20 minutes and I'm like, why was I on here?
That happens all because the notifications are right there, right? So you'll open up Instagram, but to message me, and then all of a sudden there is a motorcycle reel, and then cool, and you forget when you picked up your phone, and you just start scrolling instinctively.
Yeah.
So
it's terrible.
I noticed
it's
that
diabolical.
Vine, it was like 2013 with Vine, when Vine was a big thing. And like I was right into it. That was like the first thing I ever tried to be like a big Vine. It didn't work out. But I remember scrolling and I remember consciously thinking, and I was like 22, this is a problem. And then all of a sudden Instagram killed Vine when it created Reels. And then I'm like, I'm not watching Reels, because back then you had to go to the tab to watch. You
Yeah.
had to choose to watch. Now it's not like that. And TikTok's worse. As soon as you open the app, it starts screaming at you, right?
So I got rid of TikTok.
Oh yeah, I don't go on it at all. I never have. I just go on it because I'm paid to make videos on it, basically. So I'll make content for it, but I post and ghost, and I'm gone. I don't read comments, nothing. I pull the report if a sponsor wants to see it, and then I post it, and that's it. But all of it is just like stuff that I post to Instagram anyway, and then I cross post on TikTok. But I don't go on it. It's yeah. I think that's like the most brain rotty of the brain rot.
If all of it disappeared, if all like let's say there was some decision that across the world all these companies had to shut down and YouTube was included in that, and you had no more, there was no way for you to get your videos out anymore, right? Would you still keep the reptiles? Like how would what do you think your collection would look like, or how would it change?
I would definitely keep the reptiles. And you're thinking of an apocalyptic scenario. But we have a
Sure.
bill here in Canada where it's Bill C-11, where they might shut it down so that our content doesn't go to the US anymore. And that would effectively do what you're just saying. So this is a real
Wow.
thing that I've had to think about, and I have thought about. And I would definitely keep the reptiles, because I didn't start this for YouTube. I've been keeping reptiles for a lot longer, and I had a reptile room before I had a YouTube channel. So I would just continue to do it. I would probably have to scale down because I couldn't afford to do it, depending on what my next career would be. But within my means, I would definitely, absolutely still keep reptiles to the biggest extent that I could possibly do.
Hmm.
I love it, man. This is what I do for a job, but I never get an animal because I think it's going to do well on YouTube. I have never done that. I don't get bit for views. My channel I know the formula to have 1 million subscribers. I know the formula. I just have a heart and I can't do it. And I think that presenting reptiles in the positive light, in a good light, and doing it the right way is much more important to me than to be able to buy a Corvette. Like, I don't care. Like, I don't care. I like, the only thing that I love about this, and the thing that like I want to buy is more time. I like the ability at 2 p.m. when my buddy's off for the day, and he's like, "Hey man, let's go for a walk," or like my kids have a fun fair at 3 p.m. and I can go, or what like that to me is the most valuable thing. I don't care about anything else. So if I could afford it, I would definitely keep the reptiles for sure.
Mm. Does that and what is your feeder bill like? Like what do you spend can I know you're the only reason I ask is because you are transparent on a lot
Yeah.
of things. But like I just dropped $500 on rodents and I only have 25 snakes, so like what is your feeder bill like?
1 million. No, I'm just kidding. It's expensive. So our rodents, we have very few, like a lot less snakes now, which is great. So our rodent bill went from over $1,000 a month to probably less than $500 a month. I think it's like, I don't know, six. That's Canadian too, by the way. Uh,
Yeah.
but the insect bill, that bill's gone up. But the thing too is I do exchange. So the reptile shop, we make them fruit flies, and then we trade for a lot of our other insects. So
Mm.
without that, it would probably be over $1,000 a month because the
Wow.
monitors and the frill dragons and stuff, dude, they just I don't know where they put it. They're like my 6-year-old, dude. He out eats me. It's like a kid, dude. You know how kids just keep going, you don't know where they
Oh
put it?
yeah.
That's with these animals, and they have such high metabolisms, especially the monitors, especially the ones at, like, high temperatures. Their metabolisms are crazy. You need to feed them basically every day, and the frill dragons are like that. So, I don't know, $1,500 a month probably, something like that.
Shoot, man. Yeah, that
Yeah,
is wild. That's a lot of
yeah.
money.
Yeah, anyone who says I'm getting rich, dude, come look at my driveway and my rusty truck. Like all my money goes into this. I promise you, all my money goes into this. Like this, I just put it towards the animals as much as I can.
Yeah, well, I mean, you came out with that video on how you made $1 million, making YouTube content, right?
I did over 7 years, and guess what? It doesn't make me a millionaire. I promise you, I'm not. I promise you that I'm not. Like I'm very lucky. Like I live a pretty comfortable life. Like, but also, I was smart and I bought a house and sold. Like it's other stuff besides this too, right? So
Yeah.
I, I'm comfortable. I'm like I'm not a you know, I'm not scrounging around for food or anything, but also I'm not a rich guy. I think people see that and they think that you're famous. Like you just said, oh, you're a celebrity. People really do think that, and they think you're on the same level, and they think that you're going to roll up to the expo in a brand new Ferrari. Like that is so far away from me. Like that is not even a thing. And like even
Yeah.
like I'm going golfing all the time, which is rich person sport. I'm going to the place that's $25 for a round. Like I'm not going to the country club. So I live a very modest lifestyle, so that if my kids want to go, like I took my kids to a football game yesterday, like or one of my kids to a football game yesterday. Like that to me is like a luxury that I like. I don't care about having like new rims on my truck. Like I think that's why I'm doing well, is because I'm frugal like that.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. I mean, yeah, it is. I mean, it's a gift, man. The life that you are living, where you can be passionate about reptiles the way that you are, and be able to have a life or make a living around that is incredible.
Well, the freedom, like the big thing is the freedom. Even if like I was scrounging for money, at least I don't have to go sit at a desk to do it. And there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. If you like your job, there's nothing wrong with like sitting at a desk. It just I wasn't for me. Whereas like before this podcast, I got up early and I did everything I had to do so that when I'm done with you, I got to go clean gutters today because it's nice and my pool's almost clean, and like I want to do a bunch of stuff outside because it's going to be a nice day today. And then tomorrow it's going to pour. So tomorrow I'm doing my setup video for ball pythons inside. Like I can schedule my week how I want. Whereas before, if it pissed rain the entire weekend, well, I guess I just skip a weekend because I have to be back at my desk. Now I don't have to do that. I can kind of schedule my days. And of course, there's things that, expos are certain days, and, sponsors want things. That's different. But the freedom is like the biggest thing to me. And if you ever have an opportunity as like a listener to have your own career where you get to be free, pick that over money. I promise you it's going to make you way happier.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm trying really hard.
Well, and that's the thing too, is like, and also like I don't want people to think that I'm preachy and like, oh, I am lucky. And if you haven't been able to pull it off yet, like I got lucky, dude. Like I don't think people understand. Like 7 years ago, I was still working for somebody else and hadn't started the channel yet. So, but I think
Yeah.
freedom is like the biggest thing. The thing that I'm the most thankful for in life is being able to create my own schedule and be free. Now, keep in mind, I still work 80 hours a week, but I can do it at 3 in the morning if I want to. I don't have to do it from 9 to 5 and then stay until 8. I don't have to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's and like I said, it's an incredible gift, and being able to spend time with your family and your kids, that's incredible.
Yeah, no, like I try to spend as little time as with him as possible so I can go golfing now. But no, I'm kidding. But yeah, like it's cool. Like yesterday, my kids had a fun fair, which was cool, and then I picked up the oldest one, and I'm like, hey, we're going to a Tiger Cat game. So our CFL season started yesterday. It was the home opener, and I can just do that. I don't have to ask my boss for time off. Like I am my boss, who is a dick, by the way. But
Yeah.
he doesn't give me time off when I ask. But it's nice, and like I get to do that. And if my kid has like a dance or I don't know, I'm just making stuff up, but like when they're older, if they have a baseball tournament or whatever, if I want to coach their baseball team, I know I can do that. I have the freedom to do that. That is like, to me, the most valuable thing in all of life is the freedom to do that.
Oh hell yeah, man! I mean, my kids were on. We pay for summer camp, so our kids have somewhere to go while my wife and I work. And then this week, they give them like a week of no camp, no school. So it's like, all right,
What are you
where are
going
my
to do?
parents at? And
Yeah.
and this morning I had my physical, and guess what? I'm bringing my boys with me, and it's they put them in a separate room because my son needed to get his ear checked. But the nurse came in and she's like, I just want you to know that they were thumping around and banging, and I went in and told them to please stop, and then they accused each other, and I'm like, all right,
So your boys were being boys. Crazy.
yeah. I'm like, make sure there's no syringes or scalpels, and we'll be all right.
Well, I think that is the thing because you've got two boys. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, I don't know if the next one's gonna be a boy or a girl, but my wife, she keeps saying, I don't know what to do if it's gonna be a girl. Cause like with boys, like you kind of know what you get. And like it's chaos, but I don't know. My dad raised a boy and a girl, and it was much less stressful raising me than it was raising my sister for sure.
really.
So
Why do you think that is?
uh so I'll tell you the saying after because it's very inappropriate for your show. But in general, like boys, you have to worry about screwing themselves. Like that's
Yeah,
the you know what I mean. Whereas with girls, like you feel much more protective. I think as
sure.
a I don't know because I don't have a daughter, but I know watching my dad raise a daughter, like he was much less protective of me. I was much more apt to take care of myself and the less of a threat in the world, I guess is the way to say it, like politically correct. So I think that's it. And then also with boys, like the problem that you're gonna have is like they can't sit still. Like I've got a buddy who has three girls and we have three boys. If you tell my kids, okay, play with these puzzles in color and we'll be right back. Before we leave the room, they will be up fighting each other. That's just
Yeah,
how
yeah.
boys are. My buddy with girls, and of course I'm generalizing it, there's always exceptions, but my buddy with girls, if you put them with a box of crayons and paper and you come back an hour later, they're comparing why'd you color this blue? They're still doing what you asked them to do. And I
Girls
think
are
as
incredible.
right, but as you get older, I think that very much changes, yeah, especially when
Yeah.
they're out on their own. Like I had a paper out and was walking to school and the whole thing, and my parents never worried about me. So I think that there's just it's just different. But also the world's very much different now too, and or how much different is it? How much do we just see because of social media and the news? But yeah, I guess I don't want to get myself in trouble here. I do think it is different raising boys versus raising girls. I do. I just
Oh
think it's
yeah.
different.
My nieces are so like, yeah, just more reserved and less barbaric, whereas my
Barbaric
boys
is a
are,
good word.
yeah, my boys are feral barbarians. They are just absolutely savage. They will destroy. I mean, last week it was funny. I told them, I'm like, no more TV. I'm like, you're not watching TV anymore and rotting your brain out. And so what do? They like collect all their toy motorcycles, disassemble all of them, and then they start painting them, which was actually awesome. Like they painted like all the fairings on the bikes and everything, and they're showing me, and I'm like, thank God I told them to turn the TV off because this actually worked out. Sometimes it doesn't work out. They'll get into some trouble, but that was like such a cool moment. That it's like, man, if I didn't tell them, they would have just sat there and watched TV. But I was the jerk, and had them turn it off, and then they ended up being creative.
Well, I think you're doing something right though, because if you're able to say to your kid, "Hey, turn the TV off and go outside," and they just do it without throwing a tantrum, that means that you're being a good parent. Whereas sometimes, like you have to be the boss with your kid. In my opinion, like this is my opinion, I think you have to be the boss. Like you can be their friend or whatever, but you're still the parent. A lot of the time now, I see like these parents where they just want to be their friend, and their kid will tell them no, and they'll be like, "Okay, like what? What do you?" That's
Yeah.
not good. Like your kids won't respect the teacher. They're not going to respect their boss. Like that's a bad way to live life. Like there is authority and like you do have to follow it when you're younger. And eventually you can be the authority. That's fine. But you have to learn how to get along before you're, making the rules. So, and I'm like, I think that we're very lucky too. And I think we must be doing something right because when we say to the kids, hey, can we watch YouTube? Or like, they call it, they just, what's the video that they watch? Bloodworms. There's a channel, Terra Green, and they just want to watch this video constantly. We'll be like, no, you got to go outside and play in the mud. Oh, okay. And then they're just outside. Like there's no complaints about it. There's no fighting.
Yeah.
And they have a better time out there anyway, right? It's just watching TV is the easiest thing for your brain. It's what your brain wants to see. But then once you're outside and actually doing it, I think that that's so much better for you and you're having more fun anyway. And it's better for your brain.
Yeah, for sure. I couldn't agree more. I mean, it's so easy to let them use that to, it's like a babysitter when you have to get stuff done around the house or whatever. It's so easy to let them watch TV, but it's so much better for them to go outside, play with friends. Yeah, get into stuff, get into some trouble.
Build something, and there's something to be said too where the bacteria in mud is kind of like an antidepressant. Like this, it's a
Mm,
natural antidepressant, and you want your kids to be exposed so we have this big mud pit because in the winter here it destroys your yard, and then you just have a mud pit for like a month or two before the grass grows. And we had
mm.
this mud pit, and it wasn't warm at all. It was like 50 something degrees. And my the oldest one, he just got into his underwear and just in this mud pit, and it looked like we painted him. Like he was just, and I don't care. Like let him do it. And I think a lot of parents probably wouldn't, but it's probably good for you, first of all, to be in the disgusting muck like a pig. And then also, you're not watching TV. You're not even thinking about watching TV. Or set a sprinkler up outside and let them run through it. Kids are impervious to cold for some reason. The water's coming out at 40 degrees and they're having a
Yeah,
blast. Or if we're outside, go in the pool. I think that's like we're trying to raise our kids the way that we were raised and that we weren't watching TV all the time. And I think it's just like you said, it's just, and people also keep in mind, some people are just so busy, they don't really have a choice. And it's not really
yeah,
safe to let your 5-year-old go outside by themselves, especially if you have a
yeah.
big pool in the middle of the yard or, whatever else. So yeah, I'm talking like do this, but I understand also it's not possible for everybody.
Yeah, it all depends on your individual, situation. And yeah, we're fortunate. I mean, we're on a half acre and we've got like 4 houses on our whole street, so it's just
That's
a lot
awesome.
of, yeah, it's a lot of nature and, not a lot of, there's really no traffic. People see the kids and slow down. And so, yeah, we're very fortunate where we're at in Florida.
And they
And
have a
it's,
million animals. They live in a zoo, which is kind of cool.
yeah, exactly. The scary part is when they grab snakes outside. Then I'm like, yo, you got to shower and wash your hands, man. You can't be bringing that in.
Yeah, we don't have that here. We don't have that
Yeah.
at all. Yeah, I've never seen a snake in my. Actually, someone must have thrown a corn snake, like a dead corn snake, onto my yard once.
What?
So I was mowing the grass and I saw, and I knew right away it wasn't a garter snake, and that's the only snakes I would ever see in my yard, although I've never seen one. And it was a corn snake, and it was dead, and it was like eaten up and everything, and it was in the middle of my yard. We don't have corn snakes here, so either someone let their pet go, and that's just where it died, like a cat got it or a skunk or whatever, or somebody like to me it baffles me because like not no one really knows where I live, and then that's like a weird thing to do anyway because it was like if I wasn't mowing the grass I never would have seen it, and I'm just it's weird that a critter hadn't taken it off already. But here
Jeez.
we don't see stuff like that. Like we don't really see like we have one lizard species in the entire province. I've never ever seen it. It's endangered. It's a blue tail skink, or five line skink. Sorry, and we've got like a few snakes or whatever, but you don't really see them. We've frogs. I found a frog in my pool once. That was pretty cool. But that's like the extent of our wildlife.
Nothing can live there. It's too damn cold.
Yeah, we got like a ton of birds and like deer and stuff, but there's
But
really
they
no
leave.
reptiles. Yeah,
They
yeah,
migrate.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah, man, that's it. One time I saw coyotes going down, like, and I live on like a corner of a very busy street, and I saw coyotes like walking down the middle of the street once. So like that's pretty much the coolest thing we get to see.
Wow. What about bear? Do you have any bears where you're at?
No, not where like we have to go like 4 or 5 hours up north to see bear.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
but then you go
Man,
up there and like there's black bear everywhere, and then if you go west, a lot of places like there's just grizzly bear. I remember seeing a grizzly bear on the side of the road for the first time, and I'm like, what the hell is that?
that had to be crazy.
So the two like most interesting experiences with animals is seeing a king cobra in real life, and it was like this far away. The way
How
they look
big?
at you, they don't look at you, they look through you. And grizzly bears are the same. The king cobra was like 12 feet, something like that. It was pretty big.
Holy
There's a
shit.
video of it. There's on YouTube. Like I put it on YouTube. And then
Okay.
the grizzly bear was, yeah, like it was huge. It was
Man.
giant. I don't know
Damn,
how big,
dude.
but like, and they're so much bigger than you actually think they're going to be. Like it's not like, because a black bear you see and it's like, okay, 100 pounds or whatever. A grizzly bear is like several times the size, and you know that there's nothing you can do. It'd be like trying to fight Brock Lesnar. Like there is nothing that you can do. Even if you have
Yeah.
like a 9 millimeter, it might bounce off the thing's skull. Like not literally,
Yeah.
but you know what I mean? Like there's a reason that wildlife rangers don't carry 9 millimeters here. So it's a scary animal.
Oh my gosh. Yeah,
And
I
then you
can't
see stuff
imagine
like
that.
moose and elk. Dude, you ever see a moose in person?
No, and they're terrifying. I saw a reel of one and it like stared this dude down in the woods and then like came at him and I'm like, "Oh my god, that's terrifying."
Yeah, they are the biggest, most giant things. Like, and they're so big they don't even look like they're real. Oh, thanks. My wife just came in because she thought I might be thirsty. Thank you.
Oh.
Uh, yeah, they're so giant, and when you see them, you think that it was like a Lord of the Rings character. Like it's not. It doesn't even, because you think, oh, it's just a big deer. No, no, no. You can fit like a bunch of deer. Like if you go moose hunting, it's a party activity. You have to go with other people because you need help. You need help taking the leg out of the wood. Like there's no way with a deer you could drag it out. With a moose, you have to quarter it, and then even so, you need either machines or many guys in order to bring it out.
Yeah, I used to work with a guy that hunted moose when he lived in Alaska, and he has the antlers, the skull and the antlers mounted on his wall, and it doesn't make any sense. The size of it,
Yeah.
it's absolutely insane.
And then you see people that like go to these national parks and they get out and they're trying to be like, are you a psycho person? That thing could just
Yeah,
walk on top. And they do, by the way. Like elk kill people in Jasper National Park every year. Like, and you go to these places, especially national parks. National parks are so interesting to me because for 100 years plus, a lot of the time, there's been no hunting. So generation after generation, they're not afraid of humans because they can't kill you. They can't hit you with their car. They can't shoot you. So they're not afraid of you anymore. And then there's just monsters there. Like, look at what a grizzly bear is. It is a monster. If you describe the thing that you wouldn't want to see in the woods, that is exactly what it is. Mountain lions. You know what a mountain lion is? It's an animal that you will never ever see, but it sees you. And if it wants you, there's nothing you can do about it. Like,
hmm
they're just scary, terrifying things. And they're so cool, by the way, that I'm not villainizing them. But it's up here in Canada. Like, we don't have the reptiles, but we got some really cool animals. It's kind of cool.
yeah. I didn't know this, but there was apparently elk that used to be in Georgia, which is so close to me. But I guess everything got hunted to extinction. Like they went
Doesn't
hard.
surprise me.
Yeah, like we knocked some stuff out here in the Americas and just pushed them right out.
Well, yeah, you guys, look what you guys did to bison. I mean, this was a long time ago, but like
Yeah, yeah,
almost completely wiped them out. There's a lot of
yeah,
animals that are completely wiped out. So, I mean, yeah,
yeah.
it is wild what humans have done. It's cool that we're trying to like undo it now. And there's certain populations of animals where there's more of them than there ever have been. But yeah, bison, like just the sheer amount. There was more bison at one point in America, just within North America, than there are domestic cattle now, which is
Wow.
crazy to think about. Which is also, by the way, which is whole thing like cow farts creates global warming. What a crock. If that's the case, then wouldn't all those bison, which there are way more of, by the way, wouldn't that have been a problem? Wouldn't that have been? So anyway, that like sometimes logic.
Yeah, if anything, I would say it's probably the fossil fuels that we're burning and putting carbon into the atmosphere. Like if
Yeah,
it
I'm
was going to
thinking
be
that more than
something.
cow farts. Yeah. Yeah. You're never going to convince, no matter what propaganda is put out there, you'll never convince me to be a vegan. Sorry. It's just not going to happen. But yeah, cow fart, that's like the funniest thing to me. Cow farts are warming the world. Like, all right. Okay. Sure. Sure, buddy.
Yeah. I tried the whole vegan thing for a little while. I think we did it for like 3 months. It was miserable, man. I never felt satiated. I always felt hungry.
I have no interest whatsoever. It'll never be me. Unless like there's a medical event, like no chance. Like unless they're like I get bit by that Lone Star tick or whatever, there's no chance I'll ever stop eating meat. Like
Yeah, yeah.
not a chance.
I mean, we kind of just did it as an experiment. We did keto too for a long time. And then,
Yeah.
but all of a sudden, like my wife got concerned because like she just kept losing weight. And it was like, I don't know if she just wasn't eating enough or what it was, but it was like, all right. And then my blood work was bad, dude. Like my
Yep.
my body is not built for keto. My cholesterol went like off the scales. I'm like, okay, it's time to dial that back a bit.
Yeah, there's something to be said about cholesterol not being an issue anyway, but like I don't know enough I just listen to things. But I think that it depends on like your genetic makeup. Like for example, if you go see like Inuit people up north in Canada, what do they eat? They eat nothing but seal, basically,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
they're eating nothing but fat and protein, and that's it. Their blood work is fine. Like none of them are dying of
Yeah.
heart attacks prematurely, right? So if you are of that descent, your body's probably going to respond better to something like keto. Whereas I'm just guessing by looking at you that you're a potato eating person. I'm
Oh
guessing that
yeah.
your family comes from a potato eating background. So if for, hundreds of years, like generations and generations, our ancestry was eating tons and tons of carbohydrates, and then you go on to a diet where it's not carbohydrates, it might take you longer to adjust, or your body just isn't going to adapt. Whereas when I tried keto, same thing that happened to your wife, dude. I lost 1.3 pounds a day for a sustained
Yeah.
amount of time, to the point where I looked at myself and I'm like, this ain't it for me. I'm not saying that it's a bad diet, but for me, it didn't work.
Yeah, and for me and my family, we are very efficient at creating cholesterol from saturated fat, and there have been family members that have unfortunately not gotten on statins when advised by doctors, and then had series of strokes and cardiac incidents. So I as soon as I saw that, I'm like, yeah, we're not doing this. Is it we're we're gonna
Yep.
we're gonna cut back on the saturated fats a little bit.
Yeah, well, and that's same thing. Like I understand, like most men in my family don't live very long and die of heart attacks or strokes. Like I get it.
Yeah.
So, but I think also that's the scary thing. I know this is like, welcome to the not podcast, guys, but reptiles. But but I think like,
I've given up at this point.
yeah, normally they go so great, but if you look at like science and the way that science has progressed, like when we were kids, don't eat eggs. Eggs are the devil, and then now,
Yeah.
like it's no, you're supposed to eat the whole egg. So that's just one example.
Well,
We're
and
like,
that's that whole thing of like dietary cholesterol equates to your blood cholesterol, and that has been so far debunked at this point in time.
huh,
Your body makes cholesterol from the building blocks, which is saturated fat. You can eat all the cholesterol you want; it will not impact your blood cholesterol.
right. So, well, even like look at our old food chart. Like, you think that Cheerios are supposed to be above steak? Like, come on, give me a break. And that's what we were raised on, right? And I'm not saying that like the new one is like, I do personally think it's great, but also I'm not a nutritionist. So I just think that just because a doctor is telling you to do something. When I was younger, my dad used to go for blood work and they would tell him like, don't eat eggs, like don't eat this. And then now the same doctor would tell him the exact opposite advice, or tell me, because I'm that age now, the exact
Yeah.
opposite advice with the same blood work. So I think that we think that we know, and it's like, oh, it's 2026. But we're going to look back in 2046 and be like, yeah, that was 2026. We didn't know anything. So I think that's just this cycle of we think we know, but we actually don't. Remember when we were kids and we were told that the taste buds are on different parts of your tongue? Like, that's not a real
Yeah.
thing. So I think that science, just because it's science, there's no such thing as settled science. And what we know today is going to be different tomorrow.
Yeah, I think that we're going to continue to learn and adjust for sure. I mean, it's the whole that man, yeah, the heart disease thing really freaks me out. And that I haven't had my blood work done. My doctor sends me home with the blood work order, and I haven't done it in like 3 years because I'm just terrified.
Yep.
This year I'm doing it though. He told me, he's like, would you just go? And I'm like, well, I just want to make sure that I'm really healthy first, that I don't have a cold. And he's like, just go. And I'm like, all right, I'll go. But
Yeah.
it's it's science, man. We keep learning. I mean, I think that we're so lucky to be where we are right now, and to know the things that we do know. But I think that like, dude, in like 20, 30 years, they're going to look back and be like, can you believe they used to cut stuff out of people?
Yep.
I remember that was a thing. And it was one of the old Star Trek movies. I think it was like, it was the one with the whales. I don't know. I wish I could remember the name of it. Search for Spock. I can't remember, but they went back in time And, Bones, the doctor, is like, he's like, this is, it's barbaric, they're cutting things out of people. And he's like, so like, I think that one day we will be there. It's just taking its sweet damn time.
Yeah, and I think it's going to go faster and faster for sure. Especially it depends on availability for medicine too. But some of the stuff that they're doing now with, I don't know if it's Neuralink or something like that, where people who are literally quadriplegics and they can move a mouse and like play games on the computer.
Yeah.
And like to me, like obviously that people will say, oh, well, whatever, who cares? They're playing games. But what's that going to scale to? And then what they can do with stem cells now, like I think it's really interesting. And unfortunately, a lot of this stuff is just illegal to even study in the US or Canada. And you have to go to Germany or Mexico or whatever to even get these things. But I think it's coming along, more and more. But I think medicine and is going to be incredible before it's going to be too late for us, but maybe our kids are going to be able to, not have back problems when they're 35 and, joint problems and whatever else.
I'm hoping it won't be too late. I'm hoping that like, I'll be on death's door at like 45, something like that. And they'll figure it out.
Well, I really hope I'm not on death's door and I'm 45. But, I mean,
I'm kidding.
If they create a medical device where I can like keep going, and have a good quality of life at like 100 years old, that'd be crazy. That'd be, this whole,
you got to get to America first, man.
Dude, if there's anything, like, there's a few things in life that I wish that I would have tried harder, and I would have just. Sometimes I wish I would have just got it. But also, if I did that, then I wouldn't have met my wife, and no one would be bringing me Gatorades down here 2.5 hours of the podcast. So it worked out. It worked out.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess getting Gatorade handed to you while you're filming a reptile podcast that's about everything but reptiles, it's
Gatorade. Well, she made me breakfast this morning. Oh yeah, and kids. But like just like minor
things.
Dude,
kids are overrated, man. Kids are overrated.
It's so true. It's so true. Man, it's so funny. Like, and like watching them become little people is like, it's so funny to me. It's because like they'll learn something that they didn't know last week, and then like, where did you even? I don't know.
Oh, I know.
Raising kids is the coolest thing ever. And if you're one of those people that like, I never want to have kids, that's cool. I don't think everybody should. But if you're raising kids has been maybe the most interesting thing that I've ever got to do.
Oh yeah. No, if somebody says I don't want to have kids, you should definitely not have kids. Like there should be no pressure 100%. Put on a person that does not want to have kids. Because let me tell you something, man. And you know this. It's really hard when you want to have kids. When you want to have kids, it's incredibly hard.
Well, it really, and there's so many things that you think and then you don't. Like people who are like, well, you knew what you got yourself into. It's like, no, you don't. you don't have a clue. And like, it's a totally different experience, but it's cool. I mean, obviously I liked it. We're making another one. So there might be one after that. We don't know.
Yeah. At this point, you might as well. Right.
Yeah. That's what I mean. You already have 3. What's a 4th or a 5th?
Yeah. Or just keep going.
I'm just creating extra parts. Like if I have like some sort of issue where I need like a new kidney in 10 years, like I have a bunch growing, that's all it is.
You're not selfish or egotistical at all.
Man, I remember I used to work for this Dutch family, and all like it was a bunch of brothers that ran the company, and they all had like 20, not really, but like 6, 7, 8 kids or whatever. And I remember I almost hit one with a tow motor once with a forklift, like obviously by accident, even though he did lip off to me earlier. And he's like, don't worry, we got lots of spare parts. And I thought that was the funniest thing ever. And that's where I stole that from. But yeah, truthfully, I hope I never have to steal one of my kids' kidneys. That'd be bad.
Dude, watching them turn into people is the most wild thing. I mean, my 8-year-old Benjamin, he did he wrote a page in a book that they actually made, and you can buy it from their school. It's really cool, like a hardcover book. And there's a whole page on hammerheads, and he wrote it, right? And the misspelling is just phenomenal. Like it's just off the charts phenomenal. I love it. Like every word, like phonetically it's right, but it's just so wrong. And it's the cutest thing in the world. I don't sweat that stuff. I think it's adorable. But he had like, we'd be sitting there watching TV and he'd be like, did you know that hammerheads on average are this big and that they can swim? And he's just like rambling off all these details about hammerheads. And then my son, my older son, Junior, he wrote he made a PowerPoint presentation on hognose snakes. And
that's so cool.
Dude, yeah. And this was not me at all. This wasn't me. This was 100% him totally made that choice on his own. And, and now he wants a hognose snake. And I'm like, well, I'll ask Adam Wickens, see if I can get some reptile information out of him on my reptile podcast, between the
Well,
TRT.
yeah, dude. I'm so sorry to your listeners, by the way. But I'm doing a hognose care guide pretty soon. Like I haven't
Are
done one in
you?
a while. Yeah, yeah.
Nice,
I try to
nice.
do a couple care guides a year. Because like it's one of those things where like it's not good for your channel immediately. They don't really do that well, but then they keep growing. Where most of the content I do, you do, and then it dies, and then
Mm.
you'll look back at a video from 2 years ago, and the little thing on YouTube, it'll be like 4 views in the last 48 hours. Whereas with like my leopard gecko care guide that I put out a year and a half or 2 years ago, it'll be like 1,000 views in the last 2 days, even though I put it out so long ago. Because evergreen, it's something that people are going to search for. So
Wow.
yeah, the hognose snake, I haven't done a care guide since 2020. So yeah, I know more now. So I'm going to do a new one.
Tell me some stuff. Tell me about
But
setting up yeah, because I want to know, because we're going to inevitably get one for sure.
sure. So if you go to chewy.com/, no, I'm just kidding. Plug it.
Use my link. The link is below.
Yeah. Yes. Use Adam's link. Chewy.com/Adam Wickens. So
Hey, son of a.
no, I don't even know what the link is. But so hognose snakes, they're small, but I like to give them bigger enclosures. So if you give them like at least a 40-gallon for a male, 75 for a female, I like to do 120s. And that's what I'm going to be doing. People are going to skewer me, but I don't care. And give them some sort of a substrate that they can burrow into. Don't use peat moss because peat moss is acidic and it'll get in their eyes and nostrils. And just as an experiment, put some peat moss in your nostrils and see how you feel. And you'll never use it again.
I did that yesterday.
I'm sure your doctor loved it this morning. So I learned that on Monitor Brains podcast, by the way. And,
oh, really? Nice.
Yeah. So because all these had peat moss, and I took them all out because of that podcast.
Wow.
Yeah. So you get your enclosure, your box, basically, and then you set up some sort of substrate, which I like to use. You can use aspen, or you can use like a coconut core mixed with sand and organic topsoil, which is what I like to do. Dry it out real nice. And then put some hides or sticks or bricks or whatever you want to do. Heat source, I like to use a light. And then you use like a slate on the bottom. So they have like a basking area. And then on the other side, if your ambient temperature in your house is adequate, then just do nothing. Or put like a smaller heat emitter. If you need to put a heat emitter at night, wham, bam, Bob's your uncle. Feed the thing once a week. Feed it on mice. Don't change it because they're picky eaters. Make sure the water is always clean. That's literally my care guide, but it's going to take me 15 minutes. It'll take you 50 minutes to watch it when it comes out, but that's it. That's all the information right there.
So you feed yours mice?
Mice, yeah, because they are prone to getting fatty liver disease if you feed them anything that is fattier, like a rat. So I recommend that. I don't even actually know if it's fatty liver disease or they just get fatty in general. I just said that because I was like, that's a monitor thing, but they get fatty in general. So I just feed them mice, and some will.
Why
go
are you
at
so
different
obsessed
rates.
with monitors, man?
I don't know, they're stupid, but yeah, I think they're the coolest things, man. Monitors are they're my favorite of all the reptiles. Like think about it. Like if you think about the biggest, most powerful reptile, you think of a Komodo dragon. Well, besides crocodilians, maybe, but you think of a Komodo dragon, and to me, that's a monitor. And the coolest thing you can get that isn't a Komodo dragon are other monitors. I don't know. I think they're awesome. And then also, a big part of it is the monitor people are the coolest people. There are so many little niches where it's hard to break into, or people are like judgmental. And not like, I shouldn't say so many, but there's a lot of them. Off cuff dart frog community. But if you go to the monitor community, everybody is so nice, so welcoming. They don't treat you like an idiot if you don't know things. And I really like that. It's like been very easy to get into, in my opinion.
That reminds me a lot of the short-tail python community.
Smaller communities is the thing, I think.
Yeah. It's like there's so many cool ass people in the short-tail python community, and knowledgeable people, and that makes it that much more appealing. You're like, oh, this is cool, and then you like start researching, and you're like, everybody's really welcoming and nice here. It's not like those green tree python breeders.
It's like, and you want to ask questions, right? Like you want to ask questions. Whereas sometimes you might feel like an idiot because you're going to get ball python community. Ball python is the biggest community, and that's like the worst one. You go on Reddit, and I remember asking once for a buddy of mine. So this is going to blow your mind. If you look at a map, I don't know if you can pull it up. Pull up a map of rats. like just common rats in North
Mm.
America. The entire thing is red except for Alberta. There is no rats in Alberta. None.
Huh.
Zero. So you can't have live rats there. There's no rat breeders there. Everything has to be shipped in. It has to be frozen. I asked because I didn't know if they were allowed frozen rats there because I know what like how stingy they are there. So I asked on a Facebook group, like, how do people in Alberta get feed their ball pythons? Are you allowed to have frozen rats there? In the comments section, you should know this. If you don't know this, you shouldn't even have a python. Like I don't live there. I'm asking for somebody who does live there, and they don't
Yeah.
want to ask because they're afraid to get this response. And that to me, that is such gatekeeping nonsense. And you make us
Yeah.
all look like idiots. Like it's not I didn't ask like what happens if I put a noose around my ball python. I asked
Yeah.
how do you feed the thing because I didn't know the law in a place that I don't live. So I think those are the problem communities where it's like there's a lot of people and they all want to know more than each other, and monitors is not like that. If you talk to a guy Robert Ballon, talk to him all the time. He was just on Monitor Brains. And I asked him what to me seems like the stupidest question. Oh yeah, no problem. I'll get a call. First of all, he won't text me back. I'll get a call. And or like there's so many people like that where like my phone will ring rather than get a text because they want to talk about it and they want to explain it and they don't want to
Mm.
tell me like how stupid I am for answering the question.
Dude, hell yeah.
And
That's the
I
whole
love that.
premise of my podcast,
Yeah.
is being able to ask stupid questions. And the amount of people lately within like the past few months that have either commented privately or publicly and said that like I am learning so much from your podcast, that like warms my heart, because it's people that are searching for information and they're able to learn through conversation and just, you know, I hate the gatekeeping crap, man. I hate it. I absolutely despise it.
Yeah, well, and it's not good for anybody. Like all it is, it's good for is your ego. If you're a person who needs to have a big ego about it, and I've seen this before too. Like there's someone on Instagram who will constantly post, "This is what a hognose snake should look like," because Trish posted a video of a hognose snake which was gravid, and I will stand beside this. Is a perfectly healthy snake, still alive right now, doing great, produced like 20 something babies last year. But
Mm.
and constantly, it's the same person. This is what it should, and it's like a dig at us for having an obese hognose snake. And it's like it's this pettiness that makes you look. First of all, makes you look like an idiot, and second of all, then you're influencing other people. We had like not even that long ago. So in this enclosure here, we have an emerald tree boa, and in the enclosure, if you look at it, it's 8 feet long and 6 feet tall. So if you look at it from just one photo, you can't really see a lot of horizontal branches because they're mostly grown over in that we did it on purpose. So then somebody comments, "Well, this is a bad enclosure." This is someone who doesn't keep emerald tree boas,
It
by the way.
always is. Yeah.
This is bad enclosure, blah blah blah, and like went through it, and then got blocked. Then proceeded to go into my wife's DMs and call her names. You're a pick me bitch, and all like I don't even know what that means, but like all this,
Whoa.
yeah, dude, like personal attacks. And then they go on Facebook and then post the photo and say, "Is this a good? This is not my photo. Obviously, I know what I'm doing," or whatever she said. Is this a good? And then all of a sudden, all the comments were like, "Yeah, it's great. What are you talking about?" And it was all because there wasn't enough visible horizontal branches that were exactly level because the snake was perched on a plant rather than on a branch in one photo. And therefore, oh, the temperatures must be wrong and the humidity must be wrong. And it's like all this piling on where then all of a sudden you get all the emerald tree boas and they're like, no, this is great. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. Yeah. You must deal with that a lot.
A lot, so much. So, and well, even in like that video that you watched, the Reddit thing, where it's this big diatribe about how leopard geckos are territorial and solitary, which, by the way, they're not. And then the very end, but I'd actually only have one leopard gecko, so take this with a grain of salt. Okay, like, so let me get this straight. You have a TikTok account with 14 followers, therefore you know. But because there's a bunch of people in the comments agreeing with you, but Khan, the guy who went to Pakistan and did the study, he's wrong, right? Okay,
Yeah.
just wanted to make sure.
Isn't that nuts, man?
Social media makes people, and people say that to me, well, you have a YouTube channel. Like, so you think that makes me an expert? I
Yeah.
just picked up a camera once, and for some reason, people watch. And I tell people that all the time. Before there was an Expert in the Idiot podcast, I would say all the time, I'm just a moron in my basement with a camera. So, like,
Yeah.
everything that I say, and I will say that, like, this is what I've learned from my experience. I'm not a zoologist. I don't have a doctorate in anything. This is what I've learned through experience.
Yeah. Well, and you'd think that people would recognize that too. Is that if I know for a fact that if I saw you doing something and I were to reach out and say, hey, dude, just so you know, I learned from X, Y, and Z that if you do this, it'll help with whatever. You're going to listen to that and
Mhm.
implement that.
Yep.
You're not
Yeah.
going to sit there and say, you're an idiot, Adam. You would listen to me and say, at least consider it.
Mhm.
So these people that attack and dogpile and then everybody else jumps on in the comments and everything, it's like, what are you doing? You could have had a nice, kind conversation and said, that person about the emerald could have been like, hey, do you guys have any vertical branches in there? Because they really, that's what they like to perch up on. And then you could have said, yeah, they're actually just covered, by the plants. And then it could have just been like what it would be in real life. If the person was in your room.
And that's exactly how it would go. Because it's only on the internet do you get that. And then the problem is because they come out so staunch, you're doing something wrong. And then even if you show them, even if they say 2 + 2 is 3, and then you show them that it's 4, because they were so staunch with their opinion, they can't be wrong publicly. So they will still fight it, even though that the proof is right in front of them. Because then I posted the video. I'm like, here's the video of us making the enclosure. Do you think that we took them out afterwards? Like, why would we do that? So then for the next few weeks, I don't know if you've seen it, I've been posting pictures of this emerald on almost level with like songs in the background to mock this person because I think it's so stupid. And
I
maybe
love how you hold on to shit for a long time.
Because I know that this person knows how dumb they look. And they should know. But instead of being like, you know what, dude, and what you said, whereas if someone came to me and was, because I used to have my big red tail boa, which at the time was maybe 6 feet in a 4-foot enclosure, and it was like a foot tall. And that's wrong. This was in like 2019, probably. And he said to me, he's like, hey, man, I'm so and so. You don't know me, but I've been keeping these, and I think that it would really behoove you to keep them in this type of enclosure. That's it. And then I put that boa in an 8-foot by 3-foot tall enclosure. And guess what? He was right. Way more natural behavior. So, and I did that because this person reached out and they genuinely cared. They didn't care about being right. They didn't care about making me look stupid. They reached out to me privately because they actually cared about the animal. And that is the difference.
Yeah, what a huge difference that is, too.
Because if you actually cared about the animal, like my wife posted the picture, if you actually cared about the animal, why wouldn't you just message her? Why instead leave a demeaning comment? And then when you get blocked for leaving the demeaning comment, go into the DMs and call her bad names. Like, you don't care about the animal, you care about being right. And all these people who want to be the expert, like, first of all, you'll never get to go on this podcast. But second of all, no, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I don't understand that. I don't understand why people are like that.
It's gross. And I had the exact same thing happen to me. I was breeding rabbits for a little while. And quite often I would take them out and hold them like a baby on their back. And they would just sit there and it was adorable. And you could like walk around and hold this rabbit like a baby, right? And my friend Ray hit me up and she says, hey, just so you know, when you put them on their back like that, it actually puts them into I don't know if it's the right word, but like a catatonic state where they essentially think like, I'm going to die now. So I'm just going to play dead. And she said like, it's genuinely, it's not a good thing. Like you should hold them where they're upright and where they still have their mental capacity, and they can actually, because otherwise put them back like that. And they essentially think like it's over, it's game over. And the way that she did it, though, was exactly like that. It was private. She informed me on something that I was completely unaware of. She didn't shame me. She didn't do it publicly. She didn't screenshot me doing it and put it up on, some group or something like that. And that's so commendable. And I think that people like that should be celebrated because that's the way that we should all conduct ourselves on the internet is doing that private one-on-one, like, hey, just so you know, you're probably unaware. And if, I did have that, that moment of internal shame where I'm like, God, I'm a terrible person. Like I had no idea that I was doing that. Right. But that wasn't directed towards her. That was me thinking that.
Well, and you didn't know, and you didn't even like, how would you know? Like there's no, it's not common sense. And I think that's the big difference, right? In every video that I do, if I talk about something that happened bad in the community, I will always reach out to the person first and ask them why. I did a video recently and I don't even find it anymore because it It was about animal abuse, and it showed what I would consider animal abuse. It was a wrestler using a snake as like a ligature. And so
Yes.
YouTube took
Yeah.
it off, and I don't think you can even find the video anymore. And it was demonetized and the whole thing. And what I was doing is I was showing what you shouldn't do. And because of that, YouTube took it off. So, but I reached out to that guy first and I said, hey, like, do you want an opportunity? Because people are gonna see this. And if that video wasn't demonetized, it would probably have 100,000 views plus. Those videos usually do well. Do you want to to say something to all the people or like explain yourself or like have your say? And he just kind of like cussed me out and said, no. I'm like, okay.
Really?
Yeah.
This was
And I'm
the
like,
dude with the snake with the cloaca taped shut?
yes.
Yeah.
And
Disgusting.
And by the way, now that he's at a Facebook jail, he's doing stunts kind of like what Jay Brewer used to do, where he like throw snakes onto people to get their reaction, which is stupid, beyond stupid, by
Yeah.
the way, because all you're going to do is have a snake get flown off and die. So, but
That's
now that's what
terrible.
he's doing. He's going to a grocery store and does that to people. Like that's what his thing now is. So, and to people like that, it's like now I don't feel bad because like you're an idiot.
Yeah.
You're literally an idiot because you're putting snakes into a position where they could get hurt, and you know that because you've been told that by so many people, and it's just common sense also.
Yeah, he's intentionally not a good person. He and abusing animals and putting his animals in danger. But taping a cloaca shut,
Yeah,
like
so you don't get
could you
inconvenienced.
imagine? Yeah, could you imagine needing to relieve yourself and not being able to have the ability to do that? Like that is
Terrible pain.
that is horrendous. That is torture.
Well, and who knows how long that's there? If you wrestle 3 nights in a row, are you untaping and taping or just leaving it? Because that could create sepsis also.
Oh my god, dude.
Yeah, the animal could die. So it's not just uncomfortable. You're putting that snake into a position where it can have internal issues and then die or never recover or never be the same. So yeah, it was terrible and it was disgusting, but I still reached out to be like, hey, like, are you maybe just like you didn't know for some reason or
Yeah,
like do you want to say something? So I always give somebody the opportunity, unless it's like there's a whole other thing where like there's a facility where there's at least skeletons being found in the
sure.
enclosed. That was different. I didn't reach out to those people. But generally, if I make videos like that, I will always ask for the other side of the story because I don't want to present something like I'm the authority and then this is what you should believe. I just want to report on it and give everyone a fair shake. And unfortunately, that person was not willing to participate and just kind of cussed me out and told me I was an idiot. So it is what it
Yeah,
is.
well, in that specific circumstance, there is the possibility that it was ignorance,
Mm.
and you gave him the shot. Like you said, if there's a facility with dead animals in it and everything, and they're being neglected, the ship has sailed for you, bud.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, and then I like that this guy was the same guy who let all of his snakes freeze after he was told like, "Hey, this is how you don't let them freeze when because your power's going to go out. You know where you live," and he just let them freeze anyway, and they all died. So it, yeah, there's just certain people that don't want to learn, and all they care about is getting the clicks or with the clout or whatever. And that to me is unfortunate, and it's sad because YouTube and social media in general rewards those people. If you look at some of the biggest creators, there are people who do that. Like they'll get bit on purpose, or they'll provoke snakes, or they'll overbreed snakes, or make their snakes really, really fat. And it's sad because those people are the ones who get rewarded, and they're the ones who we shouldn't be seeing, but everybody sees them. And then Roku comes along and gives them a freaking TV deal. And to me, it's yeah, like I'm not afraid to say it. Like I don't care. I don't want to get you in trouble, but I'm not like I don't care. Like to me, that's disgusting to put your dollar ahead, like your career ahead of these animals.
Who
To
got a
me, it's
TV deal
disgusting.
on Roku?
Jay Brewer did.
Oh,
Yeah, I forget what it's called, but it was on Roku. And like, listen. So here's my opinion because people ask all the time, and like, I did a panel, and Jay was right beside me, and I truly believe that guy has a passion for animals. I truly believe it. The way that he welled up, unless he's the best actor of all time, he really cares about them. But he cares about money more. And I know like this will forever. I'll never get a sponsorship deal with his sponsors, and we'll never do a collab. I don't care. I really do think that's the case because why else would you breed hundreds of all of these pythons that I know don't go to good home? And why are they in 4 foot enclosures? And why, when people walk in there, do they say that everything has mites? And like, if that's the case, like you have all the money, it was publicly stated how much money you made over $1 million just on Facebook in that one year. It was publicly stated. Why aren't you putting that money towards your animals? Like, that to me is unacceptable. And I know people have been asking for a long time for me to come out and say it, and I just don't, because I don't know, like, it. Though people with clout like that, people who have a big name like that, they can hurt you. They can see that, and they can go to your sponsor and be like, "Drop this guy, or I'll never work with you." And that's
Mm.
the reason that people don't speak out about big names like that. Period.
Wow. Mic drop. Allegedly.
Yeah, I mean, that is my personal opinion, not the opinion of the Expert and the Idiot Reptile podcast.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
I don't
And
want to
its
get anyone else in
affiliates.
trouble, but yeah. But Adam does put 17 leopard geckos in a 4x2. No, I'm just kidding. He doesn't do that.
Dude, I remember having Ron St. Pierre on, and I think he had like I forget, it was like 50 females and one het male in in one enclosure. And
Ron
he
St.
had
Pierre, because I know Ron Tremper used to do that too.
oh yeah, well, and maybe Ron St. Pierre was telling me the story. I can't remember, but it was like
That's
terracotta
who I heard
roofing
it from.
tiles. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, so that's
yeah,
another guy. Like, so it's cool because we have got guys like Ron St. Pierre who've been in the hobby for. He has no idea who I am, but like that's one of the guys that like I look up to, and he now is a monitor guy too, which is kind of cool. But like,
yeah,
there's so many of those OGs that like it's so cool that they exist because they can tell. And I think like Tom Crutchfield, no matter what you think about him, there's nobody who tells story, or like Bob Applegate, dude. I got to have I know we're like 3 hours into this, but I got to go have beers with Bob Applegate once at a expo, at a reptile expo, and just like listening to the stories, I could listen to that guy talk for hours because he
yeah,
was one of the only guys that is still alive from that era who there was no laws and monkeys would just come in and it was just like you could trade whatever you wanted to trade and you're like chest deep looking for alligators and like those stories to me are like those are going away and none of these guys have podcasts and none of these guys have YouTube channels and those stories are all going to die. So anytime I get a chance to talk to somebody like that, like a Tom or Bob, that to me is like invaluable.
yeah. Well, now I feel like I need to get him on.
I don't know if Bob's ever done a podcast, but speaking to him was really cool. It probably also helped that I picked up the bar tab, so he was really happy to talk to me. But no, I'm kidding. Like he was just a super nice guy. But like him and then Tom Crutchfield, I got to meet once, but it was like very briefly, and I was just kind of hosting a talk. But he was on Monitor Brains recently, and what a fascinating conversation. Like there's
Yeah,
guys like that. If you can get them on your podcast, dude, I will be the first, fifth, 10th listen. I will listen to it over and over. Like that Monitor Brains podcast that Tom was on recently, I've listened to it 3 times. Like it just
wow.
and like there's stuff that and it's not baloney because the way he can deal with a crocodile monitor, like find me one other person who can do that.
Yeah,
Actually understands the animals. So to me, that's really cool. And I know that people have like various opinions of like people who did things not correctly in the 90s. Well, you probably wouldn't have either. Like we didn't know. People have to
yeah.
learn. And that's one of the cool things about a lot of those guys is that they don't stop learning. Because as soon as you stop learning, I think that you should be out of the hobby.
Yeah, I mean, well, I mean, let's be totally honest. This hobby in the 90s was mostly comprised of outlaws and outcasts and, you know, people that didn't really fit into any normal social groups, you know,
Mhm.
realistically, that's just the reality of it.
Yeah. And I think well, to a certain extent, I think there's like still a backbone of that, but it's so much more accepted now. I mean, look,
Yeah.
like Chewy sponsors, right? Like Chewy is one of the big, it's a Fortune 50 company. Like there are billions of dollars worth, and they're flying around freaking reptile idiots to be the
Yeah.
face of their brand. So obviously, once you see, and I know people hate that, like, oh, it's being corporate and sellout, but like, no, think about it. We are now in a position where the big guys are taking us seriously. And that was never a thing. Can you imagine in 1995, PetSmart picking up like a reptile, like they wouldn't do business with Steve Irwin. Never mind doing
Yeah.
with like a reptile influencer. And now we have the biggest one, Chewy, which is the best example. And they have like they just signed Garden State Tortoise, right? Like they're really going all in. So I think that it's really cool that we have like the big guys in the community and or the big guys in the world, and they're being part of the community, which is great. Also, it helps that Chewy has like a true reptile guy. The best thing that that company ever did, by the way, was hire Chris. Like I whatever. Like if it wasn't for that, then they wouldn't be where they are with reptiles for sure.
Oh yeah, such a great dude. So
Yeah.
easygoing.
Yeah, well, and also like open to new ideas. And I think with big companies, not with Chewy, but just as an example, like with bigger companies, it's harder to get new ideas and new things in because they're doing something so well, so successfully for such a long period of time. And then you
Yeah.
get a guy like Chris, and he's like, "No, this is what we should be doing," and he was right for almost everything. I mean, like, look
Yeah.
how well we are received when we go to expos. Like, I go to basically every expo that Chewy goes. Just booked Tinley today, and like we're so well received there. We show
Yeah.
up and everybody's happy that we're there. Whereas if it was a big, like, how many people hate on Apple just because it's a big company? You don't really
Yeah.
see that with Chewy in the reptile space.
Yeah, I think that they're doing great things, and I think that they're looking at it, with obviously Chris has a huge part to play in that, but just from a different perspective,
Mhm.
and just trying to tackle it from a different perspective.
Yeah, well, new ideas are a big thing, and I think in the reptile hobby, sometimes new ideas are stomped on, a la the whole leopard gecko thing. But like more than just that, in general, I think that just it's especially with animals, this is the way that it is, and anything that is deviated is seen as experimenting, and you wouldn't want to
Mm,
say you're experimenting on your animals, but I don't think that's the case. I think we do need to try new things, and we do need to have new ideas. Otherwise, we'd be back in the days of keeping ball pythons in 10 gallons and bearded dragons in 40 gallons with nothing but, like contractor sand or and heat rocks, right? So I think
yeah.
that we kind of have to keep moving forward. And for some people, that's really scary. But I'm glad that I get to partner with a company who doesn't think so.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
Chewy is awesome. I mean, they're and with Chris, he's really focused on like the hobbyists and how can we make things more accessible and more affordable for hobbyists.
Because he is a hobbyist. And that's the
Yeah.
thing is sometimes with a lot of big companies, not just in reptile, but in general, even a motorcycle company, right? Like maybe that's not a great example because they're all probably, but like say a baseball company, like if you never played baseball, you don't know what a player wants from that bat or that glove or whatever.
Yeah.
So with reptiles, if you have a bunch of people who are suits and they came from Amazon or whatever, and now they're just here because it's a big corporation and they've never kept a reptile, they don't actually know what you want.
Yeah.
Whereas Chris will message me all the time. What do you think about this? If I or other flukers, for example, how many of this do you think that this breeder or certain breeders would go through? What do you think a breeder would really like? What do you think a consumer would really like about this product? And they care enough. And that's what really separates the people that I continue to do business with, flukers and Chewy, especially with a lot of other companies where all they want to do is make money and they don't, what's going to sell the best? I don't get asked that question. I never get asked by Chewy, what is going to sell the best? They always ask, what is
Mm,
going to be best for the keeper or what is going to be best for this reptile? And that's huge.
that is huge. Yeah, because otherwise it's, hey, we're here. We have reptile stuff. So we got the hot rock.
Right.
Aren't you
Yeah.
happy with that?
Yep.
And yeah, and then it's just it's like they want a participation trophy, where it's like, hey, we're here. We have the reptile things that you
Mhm.
want, and with little knowledge of what we actually need and what we actually use on a day-to-day basis.
Yep. Well, and that's well, if you when as soon as you walk into an expo, like you see a big blue Chewy banner right away. Guess what? We don't sell anything. Like we're not making any money when we're there.
Yeah.
And we just go because we want to be part of the community and like show hey that we're here first of all. But second of all, we're donating stuff to US ARC auctions, and then we go around after the show. We're not like in our little corporate office like renting something. We're hanging out with all the reptile people. We're trying to learn about the hobby and the community, which is what all of us as creators and all of us as keepers would be doing anyway. So it's kind of cool. It's really nice. Whereas like I've done other trade shows for other things that aren't reptile, and it is so much different. It is we're
Yeah.
here and 5 o'clock we punch out and do our own thing. It's not like that. Like we want to be part of the community. And I'm really I think that we're really lucky. If you get to go to expos and be part of this community, this is one of the coolest ones. And I've been a part of a lot of them, right? Like I was a bodybuilder for a while and going to bodybuilding expos and stuff like that. The community isn't like it is here. Like we have
Mm.
something special, in my opinion.
How is it different?
Everyone is maybe because like bodybuilding is a very selfish sport, and it's a lot of egotistical people who just like they all want to be the best. They all know what they want to know. They all have their own thing going on. Like it's just very much individual, and it's an
Mm.
individual sport, of course, and very serious, very serious. And I'm not saying like the after parties where everyone's drinking loosens people up, but it definitely does. But that definitely doesn't happen with like bodybuilding. Bodybuilding is like, okay, and then we have to go get our meal in here, and then this, we got a protein shake at 5 o'clock, so we got to leave. It's very like rigid, but I think it's just part of it. But like other communities in general, like the comedy community, I guess is different in that way too, where everyone's like very loosey goosey, but then a lot of it can be like backstabby, where
Mm.
because everyone wants to get on this show, right? There's this stage and they only do this many shows and I want to get on it and I got to talk to this person and like that whole thing where with reptiles it's not like that at all. Like there's very little infighting. There's no backstabbiness. There's no drama at these shows or if there is it's like very minor or I stay away from it and I'm not aware of it, but you don't really see that. Like we're very lucky to have the community that we have.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. I totally agree. It's been, one of my biggest fears when I started the podcast was like everybody's gonna think I'm an idiot, and like right. And so like that's where the name came from. Like I'm gonna take away that power from them and I'm gonna call myself the idiot. But it's been fantastic. So many people in the reptile community are just great people that want to help and they want to share information and they want to come on and that's how I'm on episode 134,
Which is crazy, by the way. Getting over 100
crazy.
episodes of any podcast is kind of insane.
Yeah, 2 years now. 2 years.
Well, especially with what you do, where you have to coordinate it, right? You have to get a guest every time. So
Yeah.
there's a few reasons I don't want to do a reptile podcast, but one of the main ones is like coordinating with a bunch of other people and it's scheduled and yeah, you guys, I think Daffy's Reptiles, and I'm using that as an example because I talked to him. He's one of my best friends. I talk to him all the time. And like, that is a challenge. I know it's a challenge to get
Yeah.
the right guests and then reschedule. Like if they reschedule and then now you don't have an episode, you have to work really far in advance. I noticed that with all you podcast guys, all you guys work really far in advance. I don't know when this video comes out, but I remember the last one was like months later. Like months later to the point where my dad messaged me. He's like, you didn't tell me you were going on Adam's podcast again. I'm like, no, this is from the very first one. By the way, my dad is the biggest fan of all reptile podcasts and reptile content, period. For sure. He will listen to this and then give me notes. I hate how you talked about bodybuilding instead of talking about guaranteed 100%. 100%. So it's you guys are all really far in advance. Whereas me, I'm waiting for my editor to send back Monday's video right now. And it's
That's
Thursday.
wild. That's wild. Yeah. I mean, and dude, Daffy is such a perfect example of like trying to schedule. I've been trying to schedule with him for like 2 months, probably more than that. It's been way more than that. I want to go on his show, but our schedules are just polar opposites for availability.
So I'll say too with Fadi is like, he's a yes man. So if something comes up, like, so he was supposed to come to my house tomorrow. I found out yesterday that he's not coming. Like just something came up. Like he's just a tough guy to nail down and he'll always like not ditch you, but like reschedule for work. Anything that, because he takes his job very seriously, like anything that he does, his own business or whatever, or even for me, like he does all my Facebook videos. He's never missed one ever. Not once. It is impossible I don't want to call him an employee because one of my best friends, but like people who work for you, it is impossible to find people like that. So he's just hard to nail down because he's just a yes man. And if like something comes up for work, he will take it before he does something like for free, for enjoyable for himself. Cause I know he says being like a guest on a podcast as like an enjoyable thing more than something for his career, which is a cool way to look at it. And that's how I look at it too. I'm not here because I think it's going to blow up my channel. I'm here because like I want to have a cool conversation.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that. You're a cool dude, man.
Thanks, man.
There's, it's funny. Like, I think that, I like how you don't let stuff go. It's funny to me, like the leopard gecko thing like that. You are going to be talking about that until you're like probably like 55 years old.
Well, like to me, it's such a great example of how like the dog pile of this community, but also it keeps coming up all the time. Like even on that Reddit thread's like 2 months old, and that leopard gecko thing happened like 2.5 years ago.
Yeah,
and people still bring it up. They still bring it up. That's the guy with the leopard geckos, right? So, and it was 2.5 years ago. So to me, I know I was right. 1,000,000%, I know I was right. So yeah, I'm not going to let it go and be like, oh, so sorry, eh? Like, even though I'm Canadian, you can't get a Canadian to say sorry. You must be wrong, which is how it is.
But that's just because you're a Trumper.
Yeah, that's right. Yes. Forgot my red hat. I almost took it off for the episode.
You're you have short man syndrome and
Yes. I mean, part of that's kind of true. Like, let's be honest, that's kind of true. Definitely have short man syndrome, but it is funny too. Like, it's that one was my favorite because he's secretly tall. I'm like, it's not a secret, dude. Like, look at me pose next to 14-year-olds at expos, and I'm like looking up at them. You know? Yeah, it's funny too because like people are like, "Do you want to ball?" I've had that people say, "Do you like? Do you want to step on something?" Like, no, I'm not insecure about this. Or people all the time. I've seen this before, where they look at my shoes, and it took me years to realize they're looking to see if I have lifts. Like,
Oh, interesting.
yeah, because someone brought that up to me before. They're like, "Yeah, I thought you would wear lifts at least." I'm like, "What? No, I don't care."
I worked with a guy that was short and he hated it about himself, and he
Yeah.
would wear lifts and I don't want to say high heel shoes, but generally speaking, boots or something with a heck of a heel on it. And it's just kind of sad. It's like, dude, just own it, man. Like,
Yeah. Well, who cares? Like,
yeah, he
there
does.
are things where, and statistically, it does suck. You're less likely to be in a leadership position. Of all the presidential races, the short guys only won 3 times. Like, I understand there's a lot of disadvantages of being the short. People take you less seriously. They see you as less of it as an authority. However, that's just how you're made, dude. Whether you're like, it's like that's how God made you, or just how, like, whatever your belief is, that's just how it is. That's just what you are, and there's nothing you can do about it. So to be fair, like I remember one time, like a long time ago, I bought these like lifts for my shoes, and I'm like, maybe it'll make me feel better. They're just uncomfortable, and then you look stupid when you step out of your shoes. Like, it's just so dumb. So yeah, it didn't make me feel any better. I didn't have any more confidence. So you just got to own it. Like being bald, man. The amount of people who come up to me, not come up to me, but like right on the internet, like think it's an insult. Yeah, well, you're bald, so whatever. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So what? Who cares? It's just that's I just think that like the whole thing where like you're doing the sweep over, like stop, dude. You're bald. Just let it go. It's fine. It's okay. It
Yeah.
happens. It means your testosterone's high. That's a myth, but still, like let them believe it.
Yeah.
Just be what you are. And I think that people who accuse me of trying to be something else on the internet, what you see in the Reddit threads, if I was trying to be something else, don't you think I'd try to be like taller or more handsome? Like, wouldn't those be the things that I try to be? So yeah.
Well, that's what's funny, that it was so unfounded because you're very open and honest about your height. That's not something where you've ever said no, I'm actually,
Yeah.
you've never done that ever.
I make jokes about it all the time. Like,
Yeah.
I don't care. And it's also something that you couldn't hide. And even though it's the internet, like I could just, like do that. And I do and the way that I angle the camera isn't to make me look taller. But I do know it does. It just makes you more physically appealing because
Yeah.
it makes you look taller. So, but when I go around at expos or whatever, like, and I know guys, like there's a guy in the community, I'll tell you after, and he's a short guy and nobody knows it. And when he goes to expos, he doesn't like to take pictures with people. He doesn't like to be around people. He will go to the stage and then come off the stage and then leave.
Oh, I'm writing down.
I'll tell you
right
after,
now.
but I'm not going to say it out loud. 'Cause, yeah, I don't know him that well, and we're not that close. So, but yeah, it's funny. I've heard many stories about this.
That is such a weird thing when people actually lie about their height too, and then you see them and you're like, wait a minute.
Big thing in bodybuilding, huge thing in bodybuilding. There's a guy who has a huge, massive channel. I forget what it's called, but his whole thing is he goes to bodybuilding contests and he's like, "How much do you weigh? How tall are you?" Great. Pulls out a scale and a tape measure, and you watch these bodybuilders just like, and to the point where it's created fist fights, like the whole thing. There's this guy, Jeff Nippert. He's a Canadian guy, one of the biggest bodybuilding channels.
Oh yeah, I love that guy, dude. His content is the best.
There you go. So he's a Canadian guy, and he was assaulted by this idiot who is very he's a short guy, but he says he's 6 feet tall. And there was this whole fight and he got assaulted. Like there's a whole case about it. But he's one of those guys where like he's afraid to be around people because and all these alpha guys, like this like manosphere, all these guys go up to them. None of them are 6'4". None of them. None of them are like they're like 6 foot or 5'7" and be like, no, I'm 6 feet. It's so dumb.
Why do you think they're in the manosphere, bro?
Yeah, seriously. I haven't watched the documentary yet, but I heard it was hilarious. But
I heard it was very sad. I haven't seen it either, but I heard it's like very, very depressing.
I find humor in pain. So
yeah, well, as long as it's other people's pain.
Yeah, well, it's not like in a cruel way, but like, and I've trained this. So like, if I see one of my kids fall, I immediately start laughing because when they look up, they want to see your reaction. If I'm laughing, they'll laugh and get up. And I think that's like whereas like if my parents are over, oh, sweetie, and then they'll cry. right? Because
Yeah.
they react the way. So I think that, I don't know, laughing in general, like even if like terrible things have happened, and especially because I hang out with comedians and like all my golf buddies are comedians, and I think that's like part of the fun is like the things we will make fun of is just unacceptable, but it makes you
Yeah.
feel better about them and make kind of like takes you out of it. So
Yeah.
I think
Laughing at your kids when they fall down sounds kind of crazy, but
it does sound crazy,
I'll
but
let you go. You're like, now that I say it out loud.
no, well, like it sounds crazy, but like I mean, if they
I
don't
get
get
it.
hurt, you know what
Yeah,
I
I
mean?
get it. I get
Yeah.
it. Yeah. I mean, like when my kids fall down, I was always very, you good? And
Mhm.
just kind of, just be very neutral. Whereas,
Mhm.
yes, you get an aunt or an uncle or a grandparent around, and then it's like, oh, are you
Mhm.
okay? Oh, and then it's like, oh, I'm not okay. Yeah,
Yep.
it's
Well,
not good.
yesterday I was walking down the street with my kid and he was trying to walk on like a curb and he fell off. And I didn't realize he actually scraped his leg like pretty good, but he fell off. And then we both started, he didn't even look at me for a reaction. He just knows. We just laugh when we fall and hurt ourselves. And I've done that too. I've fallen off a ladder before and I just laugh because it's like, am I broken? No. Okay, I'm good. And who
Yeah, yeah.
cares? And falling over, as long as it's not like a medical seriousness, is kind of funny. Like there's a YouTube or an Instagram. People aren't gonna like this about me. I don't care. There's an Instagram page called Kids Getting Hurt, and it's like they're not actually getting, but it's like they're falling off bikes or like stuff like that. And it is hilarious. Like I think it's funny. It's never kids like breaking their neck or anything.
I got to
It's
get
just
on Reddit and put Adam Wickens loves watching
he
kids get
hates
hurt.
kids. Yeah. But
He
I think
keeps
it's
making more so he can see them get hurt.
dude. I personally think it's funny. I think it's funny. I don't know. Maybe that's a morbid thing, but I think it's funny.
Oh man. Yeah,
Watching
dude,
old people get hurt though, not as funny. Not nearly as funny. It's
no,
always
no.
kids because you know they're going to be all right.
Yeah, dude, I missed the step yesterday at work. I like my phone went off and I took it out to answer it and I put my foot down and missed a step going upstairs. Oh, dude, that sensation of like, oh my God, I almost just died. Like that was
Yep.
close.
Or like if
That
you
was
think there's an extra step and there's not, and then all of a sudden your hips are in your chest. That's yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I almost ate shit yesterday. I almost died.
Yeah, I get this bad habit so I have like my back door and there's like a deck, and usually like when I walk out, I've got like a new drink. So like I'll be like have my water or whatever, and I'll like put my head up to drink, and then I'll like not realize where the stairs are, and I've almost fallen down the stairs. Like yesterday it happened to me. I'm like, dummy, you do this all the time. Like if this was one of your kids, you'd be yelling because they don't learn from their mistakes, and you do the same thing. And you live here and you're an adult. So yeah, I don't know. Stairs are dangerous. I don't know how. Anyway, welcome to the Reptiles, Idiot and the Expert, not Reptile Care podcast.
Welcome to the danger of stairs.
Yeah. Yeah, that's now I gotta go climb up on a ladder. That's my plans for this afternoon. It's supposed to rain tomorrow. I gotta clean up my gutters or eaves troughs, as we call them here. And then it's gonna be a fun day. It's nice. It's 28 degrees outside right now. So I don't know what that is, like
Nobody knows
80,
what that
85.
means.
By the way, I am done catering to you Americans. I am done. Chris and I had a fight about this in Denver once, like pretty spirited debate. Celsius is better. Metric is better. Imperial sucks. I'm sorry.
I mean, you're, dude, it's okay. You can be wrong. You're Canadian. Canadians are wrong in a lot of things, and you're just adding to the list.
Listen, I'm just telling you, water boiling at 100 and freezing at 0 makes sense. Why are we doing 212 and 32 or whatever?
That does make sense. You do have a decent point there, but your stoves are still in Fahrenheit, so
that is, yeah, in my pool's in Fahrenheit, and yeah, I don't know why we do
and your
that.
milk is in a bag.
It is true. Have you ever seen one in real life?
No. Well, I've seen pictures. Yes, I'm not physically in person because I'm not an animal. I drink my milk comes in a carton.
And it doesn't even make sense because it's a gallon or like 4 liters. Basically, it's 4 liters of milk that comes in 3 bags. So it's not like 4 1-liter bags. It's 1.33 liter bags times 3.
Wow.
It doesn't make any sense. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. However, I was raised that way. And you have to go buy a pitcher from the dollar store, and then you put your milk in it, and then you got to find scissors or a steak knife to hack up. Yeah, I agree. Bagged milk is kind of dumb. But do I have bagged milk in my fridge? Yes, I do.
Of course you do. I mean, what other choice do you have? You can't not.
And what do you call it?
bagged
So
milk.
milk, if it's over 3.25% fat, what do you call it?
Whole milk.
Homo milk.
What?
Homogenized milk. Homo milk.
That's what you guys call it?
Yep.
That's That's very offensive.
Yep, it's not a joke. Like serious. So I used to work at a convenience store. My parents used to run a convenience store, and that was just a thing. Like, do you guys have any homo milk back there? And it wasn't like a joke. No one cracked a smile. It'd be like going to England and be like, "Can I puff a fag?" Like you wouldn't. It's not a joke. It's not offensive. It's just homo milk. That's what it is. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Man, Canada is so messed up, dude.
Yeah, and we have homo milk, by the way, because I think the fat is good for your kids' development. So, yeah,
Mm,
I want
yeah.
sturdy children. I don't want to
Yeah.
have to. We've got ducks
You want
now.
their
We have, like,
arteries to be nice and hard and
nice and
robust.
hard, ready for all the saturated fat that I plan to feed them as they get older.
Layered and hardened plaque.
Yeah, I want a kid who can move a couch. Okay, I don't want one of these like little fancy kids who like, oh, I can only pick up an iPad. No, no, no. I want you to be able to help me pick up bricks and sticks to make my next leopard gecko cohab.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And if he's dead at 52, screw it. He had it coming.
I won't be there. I won't even know about it.
You'll be long dead.
And it's great. I think that kids are so much healthier now. Or like, well, kids, the way that you and I seem to be raising kids, are so much healthier now. Dude, my kids, when I send them for lunch, I wouldn't believe as a kid. I would think that I'm raising my kids as if they are rich kids, even though they are not. The kids, the lunches that my wife packs my kids look like feasts, and they just come home empty.
What are they getting? What are they getting?
So they'll get like a full sandwich plus a croissant plus a banana plus a yogurt or one of those applesauce things,
Yeah,
plus a yogurt plus a meat like one of those pepperette things, plus lunch meat plus pickles. Like it's like a meal,
nice.
like a full. When I was a kid, it was Wonder Bread with a little bit of butter and mustard and one piece of bologna. Here you go. If you're hungry, dinner's at 5 o'clock. So
You ate bologna and butter?
that was kind of like that was the staple. That's what my mom used to make. Yeah.
That's wild, dude. So my grandmother was a big bologna and butter sandwich fan, and everybody in the family would be like, "What is going? Why does she like bologna and butter?" And maybe it was a
Disgusting.
Canadian thing.
So what? If you go to Newfoundland and you fry bologna, it's called Newfoundland steak. That's like something they eat there.
Yeah, and your Canadian bacon is not bacon.
No, it's no female bacon. Yeah, no, it's not. But it's great. I don't know if you ever had it. It's very good.
I've had it. Yeah, I wasn't impressed.
Maybe you need to like there are bad ones and there are good ones, but like when I was a kid, at that convenience store I used to work at, there was always like a barbecue outside because there was a butcher next door, and they do the female bacon correctly, like they butcher the pig in the back and then come do it on the barbecue and put it on a bun. I'm telling you, I miss those days. It was really good.
Wow.
Mhm.
Have you ever had fried spam?
No, that's disgusting. That's that's a Hawaii thing, isn't it? Spam's from Hawaii, isn't it?
I mean, my dad fried it up. He's definitely not Hawaiian. What's the other? Oh, liverwurst. Have you ever had liverwurst before?
No. Never.
Oh man,
what
dude.
is that? Is it like what is that?
Dude, it's a deli meat. At least here, it's a deli meat. I don't know what it is. But the taste is decent. But you can fry it up. I think it's basically just a log of fat and like liver, like liver and fat mixed together.
No, it doesn't sound appetizing.
You could spread it on a cracker if you wanted.
Oh, that sounds disgusting.
Yeah, but you can also cut it, and then it has like this weird liner around it. It's almost like a cheese.
Yeah, no, not interested in that at all.
Liverwurst.
I was hungry until right now. That sounds
Yeah,
disgusting.
you should try it. You should try liverwurst.
No, like as far as canned meat goes,
This isn't canned. This is fresh, just FYI.
Oh, well, it sounds like it should be a canned disgust. It sounds like Vienna sausage is spreadable. That's what it sounds like to me.
The Vienna sausage is disgusting.
I've never had one, but I know a guy who eats them and used to drink the juice and like, yeah, disgusting. Meanwhile, I drink pickle juice unironically, so I don't know. But canned meat, corned beef is fine. My dad used to make corned beef hash all the time with corned beef from the can. I have some. It's great. It's fantastic. And if a bomb ever hits, then I got food. It's fantastic,
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, canned meat is a no-go for me. I eat a lot of meat, but all of it is like from an animal that was living sometime this century. So yeah. A lot of those meat products, those might have been in that can for a long time.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, all we do is chicken breast, ground chicken, and ground beef. 93% lean, grass-fed deal.
Yeah, that's mostly what we eat here. And then, the occasional like chicken thighs are nice on the barbecue, right? Because they get a little crispy and
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and then steak every once in a while if it's on sale at one of our groceries. No Frills. Have you ever seen the? I posted it on my Facebook the other day. So we get this brand called No Frills, and it's like a kind of like a value grocery store. Everything is yellow, and then they have their own line of product where it'll be like cola, right? Like a can of pop, and it says cola on it, or like it'll be like mayonnaise, and it just says mayonnaise. That's it. No branding, no nothing. And then because it caught on, now they have like hats, hat for a head, chair for sitting, and you can buy this stuff, and it's like it's a real thing. It's like it's real.
I love it when companies realize how dumb they are, or
Mhm.
that they have something kind of silly, and they're like, let's just run with it.
Yeah, because like our Americans loved it and they thought it was so funny. So they're like, all right, well, let's lean into it, which I think is the right thing to do. And I think that your whole thing of like you don't forget. I just lean into things. And I think that
Yeah,
some people like they get afraid and they're like, oh no, I don't care. I think it's hilarious. Like the pickle eating thing. I ate pickles once on a podcast for charity, and I ate the whole jar for $1,000, which I donated to rainforest conservation or something. And then
yeah,
I just became the pickle guy, and now I have pickle merch and pickle stickers and Dingo Dinkelman, dude, who like that guy was the guy. The very first thing he ever said to me is, "Hey, pickle boy, come here." Like it just became part of me, you know.
pickle
So
boy. That sounds
yeah,
like such an insult.
the amount of people, and dude, Dingo was such a character. Like I hang out with comedians constantly. He is funnier than any comedian I've ever hung out with. He was one of the
Really?
funniest guys I've ever met. Yeah, hilarious,
Can you
so
tell
funny.
me about him? Do you have any stories? Any dingo stories?
So I don't know if there's any like particular stories, but just the way that he was very unfiltered. He didn't care what he said. He didn't care who heard it. He wasn't afraid of losing sponsors or whatever. He was just unequivocally himself. And to me, like that was the coolest thing. But that time at Animal Con where like I still was new to going to the States. I didn't really meet a lot of people yet. That might have been like one of the first events I've ever met people at. And then him from across the hallway. It wasn't like we were close. Hey, pickle boy, come here. Like he was like I was one of his kids or something. And just like instantly felt like we were best friends. And that's how you know like somebody has like a charisma about them like this, or the riz, as like kids would say, I guess. I don't know if that's how
Yeah.
you use it.
I don't know if
But
they say it anymore, but yeah.
oh, I don't know, I'm behind. 6, 7. So but he was like he treated me like we've been friends forever. And then I saw him like a couple times after that. And then he would just be like, "Why don't I have your phone number? I tried to call you the other day, and it wasn't in there." Like he would
Mm,
always make things like your fault, but like as a joke. He was just so unique as a person. Like he was the
yeah.
type of guy that you knew, even if you didn't know who he was, you knew he was famous. You just knew.
Yeah. R.I.P.
Yeah, taken too soon, unfortunately. And the video I did, and everyone, oh, it's his fault. Like, shut up, dude. Shut up. You're gonna go work at this job that you hate tomorrow. To go to your family, go home to your family who you don't even like. This guy was
Yeah.
living his dream. It claimed him too soon, but that guy actually lived, and you haven't even started yet. And I think that's yeah.
The whole free handling thing is so funny because like you watch a video of Steve Irwin and he free handled the crap out of some very venomous snakes, and we didn't even think about it when we were kids,
And still, nobody can. No one says anything. They'll be like, "Oh,
Yeah.
Chandler this and Tyler that," and it's like I don't agree with what they're doing, but I think they should be allowed to do it because they're adults. But no
Yeah.
one says anything about Steve because everyone loves Steve. So it's not
Yeah.
even what the message is or what the action is. It's who the messenger is. That's all that
Yeah.
matters. So I think that happens a lot. But yeah, I of all the guys like, and someone asked the other day, I think it was Chucky posted. He's like, "What's the closest we have to Steve Irwin?" And I didn't say anything, but Dingo was the closest by far. By
Yeah.
far. He was the guy. So yeah, real
Yeah.
sad. Like the two main guys in the hobby, and they both died the same year.
Yeah. Isn't that terrible?
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, they got to do what they love for a living, and they got to live more. They get to live more of a life than most guys who die at 90.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, dude, holy crap, man. 3 hours and 20 minutes we're at. Jeez Louise.
Yeah, 3 o'clock. Now it's prime time. It's going to be baking in the sun now.
Yeah, you got to get
Florida
up there
boy.
and yeah, yeah. It's time to I'm going to go get on the treadmill. I got to get some steps in, man.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
And I have a sauna, and then I'm going to do the sauna after that
Yeah,
for
don't you live
sure.
in Florida? Isn't outside a sauna?
Yeah, but it's not hot enough. It's got to be 200 degrees. You know that. Come on.
Mm, right. Fair. True. You got to get those heat shock proteins. Uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah. How do you not have a sauna? Like that would feel so good during the winter.
No room in this house because there's too many kids and reptiles. That's
Oh
honestly the
yeah.
only reason. That's it.
Yeah.
But
They do
next,
have the outdoor ones.
I know, and I was just up north with my family, and like apparently everyone up there has money because they have like this big giant like they're like big barrels. Everybody has them up there, so maybe I got to
Wow.
look into one of those.
Yeah, they're not too bad. I think they're like 3 to 5,000. Which it's a lot, but at the same time, like I built mine from scratch, and I think I did everything sans heater for like $1,500,
Oh,
and built it 2x4s and yeah, cedar plank.
yeah. Well, $3,000. Man, you know how many rounds of golf I could get in? No, I'm just kidding. But
Right.
yeah.
You're not wrong. If that's, well, yeah, you must have some nice clubs though, right? Like that's where the
No,
money comes in.
I'm using my mother's club
Oh, you're
still, dude.
still, I thought that was like, back in the
Okay,
day.
I'm talking, no, dude. My first round of golf was 5 weeks ago. This is like
Oh
brand
man,
new.
dude. Well, just wait then. You're gonna go off the deep end. I guarantee it. You're gonna drop
I'm
some serious coin on.
holding myself back. Yes. So now I've got like golf shirts and yeah, it's like already becoming a problem, but like I don't want to go and spend thousands of dollars on clubs until I actually know what I'm doing. Because for all I know, in like three weeks, maybe
You
like my
might be out of
goals
it.
finally, and I'm like, I don't want to go anywhere anymore. So yeah, I'm not. I'm getting better at that with age. Where before I used to just like, oh, okay, well, I watched 2 episodes on crocheting, so I'm gonna buy the not that, but like, you know what I mean? Like I bought a one wheel
What
like
an
a week after I
example.
found out. I don't know. I used to crochet when I was younger, but bought a one
Did
wheel
you
like a week after.
really?
Yeah, well, I worked at a call center. It was only women. I was the only guy that worked there, and there was a bunch of old ladies and they're crocheting, and I'm like, okay, so like, yeah. Anyway, yeah, that's what I did.
uh,
But yeah,
I have an awesome friend, Michaela. She does this thing. It's called like Warm Up America or something like that, and she crochets like mittens and caps, and then
that's cool.
she sends it to these people, and they give it to homeless people that are like outside during the winter and like cold
See, that's amazing.
climates.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was just doing it because I was trying to kill time between calls. I wasn't giving it to
sure.
anybody. I made myself a scarf though. Yeah,
Nice,
yeah.
nice.
But now I don't do that. Now I golf in one wheel. So yeah,
Oh, you do a one wheel?
dude, that's like yeah. One wheel reposted me the other day.
Wow, dude. Next sponsorship deal.
I freaking wish. Are you kidding me? That's like so. Golf is going to take up a lot of my time this summer, but before that, I was on that thing is long as humanly possible. Like that's another thing. Like bikes, like motorcycles, where you have to be thinking about what you're doing, and
Yes.
that's
Yep.
it. And that was like it's a very freeing thing. Plus, I like moving through space quickly. So
Yes.
not on motorcycles though, because like I motorcycles. What's the saying? Like there's two type of motorcyclists ones
That's
who
a
have been
bullshit
down or ones
saying,
that
and
are
we're
going
not
down.
even going to say it right now. It's a
Yeah.
bullshit saying. Fuck
Well,
that saying.
I hope you're right, but my monkey brain has I wanted a bike for a long time and I do no longer want one because yeah.
Yeah.
I'll
Well, you
leave that
haven't
for
ridden
you.
yet. Well, and
Whoa.
and to be fair, I have crashed twice. The first time I ever rode, I was like, "What am I doing?" Wah, out into the woods, right into a ditch,
Mhm.
jackknife the bike. Yeah, it was a nightmare. And then the other time, I went to go turn. I had to make an emergency slow down and turn, and you never come to a full stop with your front brakes while the handlebars are full lock.
Yep.
And I did that and just dumped right in the road. It was fun.
Yeah. Well, I just feel like I'm not worried about me. I'm worried about everybody else.
Yes.
And motorcycles are small and hard to see sometimes. And I'm just worried about someone texting and driving, one of these kids who wasn't raised
I know.
properly, not like
I
our
know.
kids. And
Yeah.
that's what I'm worried about. And especially like where I live, motorcycle season is very, very short. So it's like a
That
big
is true. Like, what's the point at that point?
yeah. And plus every time I open up X, it's like motorcycle. I'm not gonna say it out loud, but
Just
it's
stop
bad
it.
news. It's so yeah.
Stop.
Meanwhile, I'm just sitting on a one wheel that if it shuts off, it's you know,
Yeah, I had a friend that ate shit on a one wheel, dude. Oh
so
man.
I have like these like blue inhalers, right?
Yeah.
I shattered one against my leg in the concrete because I was trying to beat the battery in the battery, and it just stops,
Oh.
right? So you're going at speed and it was literally just pieces of plastic in my pocket.
You'd think
Shattered.
that they would program in a, like, when it gets down to
Oh, it did.
2% battery.
No, it did. It did. Yeah, it was me. It was my fault. I was trying to beat it. I'm like, oh, 2%. I got lots of, nope. Peace out. See it. It was pushing back. Oh yeah. It was not One Wheel's fault. That was my fault.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dude, man, sometimes you don't do smart things, bro.
No, it turns out, I don't know if it's my mammalian brain or my male brain, but yeah, sometimes we don't do smart things. So, but it's fun. It was fun. It was a good time. I survived, and yeah, but Cusco convinced me that I should wear Brian Cusco. He convinced me I should wear a helmet when riding now. So at least I'm doing it smarter.
Yeah, I used to ride and not wear a helmet, and now I'm like, I can't believe I ever did that. That was the dumbest thing in the entire world.
Yeah,
but I was invincible then.
Well, exactly. That's true. I don't know if you know, listeners, if they know this, but when you're a 25-year-old man, nothing can kill you. You're actually invincible.
Yeah, you're immortal. You can smoke cigarettes. You can ride motorcycles with no helmet, and you literally can't be killed.
Yeah, no. There's nothing that can kill you. You're actually invincible, which is great. Unfortunately, now we're in our mid 30s, and when I stand up, I'm going to make a noise because my hips are locked up for sure.
Oh, so, yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't really work.
When you're in your mid 30s, everything can kill you.
Yes. Yeah. It is so true. I'm very nervous. If there was seat belts on the golf carts, I would wear them now. So it's very different. Very different experience.
Brad rides too. Bioactive builds. Yeah.
Yeah. He's an interesting guy, man. I
need to get him on.
You haven't had him on yet?
Not yet.
Oh, you're a worse podcaster than I thought.
No, it's good because now I'm really getting back into Harleys and everything. So we're going to be able to talk about that.
Yeah.
Although he might actually want to talk about reptiles on the Reptile podcast. So he might be a weirdo,
Yeah, I wouldn't want to do that. No, on this podcast. Where it says Reptile podcast right at the very bottom. But yeah, so I didn't mean to steer you in a direction of talking about everything else, but I don't know. Also, it's 11 in the morning. Like my brain is fired. You got to get me when I'm tired. Yeah. Sorry, but I apologize to your listeners. This was probably a very long listen of this is like the most bro podcast that you've ever done. So yeah.
It is. But it was fun, man. It's fun. It's always a good time talking to you, dude. I appreciate you.
Well, hey, thanks for doing what you do. I'm glad you started the podcast when you did. You have great guests. And if you're listening and you haven't hit subscribe yet, please do.
Thank you, man.